Good morning. Yes, it is your Monday. Wat 'n voorreg om die week saam met jou te kan afskop. It's wonderful. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And I hope that you are gearing up for a wonderful weekend. Here we are here to kind of set the tone for you on this Monday morning.
You know, we've been rubbing our hands literally because we are so excited about the week in store. It's so good to be connecting with you. Yes, my name is Graham Richards. Welcome to all of you. What a privilege, as you say. What a privilege and a pleasure to start our day, to start our brand new week with you. And we are going to pack it in today.
We are here to ease you into the work and school week with a dose of feel good this morning. Now listen up. Sports person and gym owner Seb Prentice joins us for an ab and a leg workout to kickstart your exercise routine this morning. It's going to be lekker. Ra's going to get in there. He's going to show us a thing or two as well.
I love it. Check how enthusiastic we are for Ra's to start training this morning. Come on, boy. You got this. You got this, guy. Then get into something comfortable. Move the coffee table and join us for a quick burst of endorphin. That's what we need on a Monday. Then to boost those immune system, because yes, it is the season to be getting a little snotty. We've got hearty red pepper, tomato and lamb knuckle stew. Oh my goodness. I went out to an amazing restaurant yesterday and didn't order. There was a pretty lekker stew vibe, so and I didn't order it. Mistake, but it's okay.
It's happening. Listen, the aromas that filled the studio when we walked in here this morning, it's amazing. Then we also meet a guy who took an Uber from Joburg to Cape Town to set some new record for the longest Uber ride ever. Now, YouTuber and content creator Tolana Moyo joins us this morning in studio to tell us about his rather spur-of-the-moment journey. I mean, from Joburg to Cape Town in an Uber.
How's he going to get back? Do you think he's come to ask for a little bit of cash?
I don't know, but we're going to find out. It's a fascinating story. And of course, all the usual, Roy Simpson is here to unpack all the news headlines because Dada's bio.
There is. In fact, there are so many different elements of the current affairs landscape to take on board that we're a little bit nervous, so we need some help this morning. So let's plug into this guy who is so connected to the world right now. Raul Temone. Good morning, son. How was your weekend?
Good morning, gents. Thank you so much for the intro. Yes, we're moving this morning, as you heard. So you're going to definitely want to move those coffee tables, get your workout gear on, and work off all of our sins from the weekend. I know a lot of you chowed down and had some beautiful meals, so this is your opportunity to get rid of that and get the shred on. But as you just heard from the gents, of course, there's so many affairs happening, so many headlines coming out, and we want to know from you, from a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your current affairs when it comes to South Africa and all the headlines that are going on right now? So come through. You can use our social media link and, of course, the channel and, of course, our number 2. And that's 063-408-8863. And come through. Let us know what's tickling your fancy, what's getting you perturbed, what's disturbing you, and what's getting you excited. That's all the headlines we're talking about this morning. And, hey, speaking of headlines, let's get straight into it right now.
Thank you very much, Raul. 3 minutes past 6. Let's help you with those current affairs with your news headlines. Starting off with national news this morning, the SA Reserve Bank is expected to increase the repo rate once again. Now, the announcement is expected on Thursday. Economists say the hike will likely be anything between 25 and 50 basis points. And this as the Reserve Bank attempts to bring down inflation, which has been above its target bracket for precisely a year this month. Now, meanwhile, consumers continue to battle the high cost of living, and it doesn't appear as if things are about to improve anytime soon. And Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga says her department is engaging with the National Treasury to fund an national integrated reading literacy strategy. Now, the minister was tabling the department's budget vote for the 2023-24 financial year in Parliament. Earlier, a report on the 2021 progress in international reading literacy study had revealed that 81% of South African grade 4 pupils cannot read for meaning. Now, the study is coordinated by the International Association for the Evaluation of Educational Achievement and is the global standard for monitoring reading achievements at grade 4. Making international news headlines this morning, Africa will not accept that it should just continue to be a source of raw materials for the rest of the world, the African Union's Trade Commissioner has said. Albert Muchanga says instead his continent wishes for a future of genuine and mutually beneficial relationships with its trade partners. Now, the G7 summit is the annual gathering of the world's richest and largest democracies, Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the US, to address urgent international issues to coordinate global policy. It is in progress at the moment in Japan. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden at the meeting of G7 leaders in Hiroshima, Japan, yesterday said the group of 7 nations had agreed on a united approach to China that called for diversifying supply chains to reduce dependence on one country. Now, the leaders took a strong stance against what they called economic coercion, using trade to bully other countries, and called for China to play by international rules. China has expressed strong dissatisfaction at the G7 stance and has complained to the summit organizer in Japan. And we end up with this story, an exciting top soccer match last week between 2 Premier Division teams in La Cisterna, Chile, was just getting started, but it was suddenly interrupted by an unexpected visitor and had to be momentarily halted. Any guesses why? Perhaps a streaker, intoxicated fan maybe, but think again. It was none other than a playful brown dog which stormed onto the field, bringing the game to an abrupt stop. The furry intruder manages to get hold of the ball and refuses to let go. A player then lifts the dog and carries it off the pitch, but the dog clings to the ball very tightly. Now, the player then hands the dog to a security guard who takes it off the field, and this as the crowd goes absolutely wild with the light and cheers, hand clapping and laughter echoing all around the stadium. The best part, as the dog is escorted off the field, he doesn't struggle at all. He just submits to being carried off. Where are we going? Perhaps that's what he's thinking to himself. Are we getting a treat? Hopefully we're not going to the pound. But it is definitely a beautiful story that captured the eyes of the world, and I think it was just wonderful. What a wonderful way to stop a soccer match. Well, that is your news headlines for the 6 o'clock bulletin. We'll have another round at 7 o'clock. Right now, let's get into your first round of sports.
Thank you so much, Ewan. Well, perfect platform to kick us off as we hone in on football, and they didn't need a golden retriever to pull this one off. Man City celebrated a 3rd successive Premier League title triumph with a 1-0 victory over Chelsea in a relaxed, pretty party atmosphere at the Etihad yesterday. So City were confirmed as champions without even playing. That was after Nottingham Forest's win against Arsenal on Saturday. So Evan Ferguson, he scored twice in the first half as Brighton beat out Southampton 3-1 to secure European football for the first time in the club's history. At the other end of the table, struggling Leeds lost 3-1 at West Ham, whilst Brentford, of course, beat Spurs 3-1, and Liverpool drew 1-1 with Aston Villa. A little bit closer to home, staying on the continent and sticking with football, Virat Casablanca triumphed over Mamelodi Sundowns on away goals. That was at Loftus Versfeld Stadium on Saturday afternoon to advance into the final of the CAF Champions League. So the semi-final second leg match ended 2 apiece on the day and 2-2 on aggregate, but the Moroccan side took the tie on away goals and will have the chance to defend their African crown in that final next month. It was Yahya Atiyat Allah's in-swinging free kick from the right flank that was headed into his own net by Motobi Mvala for a 2-2 scoreline in that 83rd minute in what proved to be the decisive moment of the tie. Then on to rugby, top honours for La Rochelle. They became the 5th team to win back-to-back European Champions Cups on Saturday when they clawed back a 17-point deficit to beat Leinster 27-26 in an absolute thriller. So the Irish province made a dream start and was 17-0 up after 11 minutes, thanks to a try from Jimmy O'Brien and 2 from Dan Sheehan. But the defending champions managed to cut the half-time deficit to just 9 points, thanks to tries from centres Jonathan Dante and UJ Suteni. The biggest comeback in Champions Cup final history was then capped by Jean-Henri Colombe's late try to seal that momentous win. Then we turn to tennis. Daniil Medvedev beat Holger Rune, the young upstart, 7-5, 7-5 to win the Italian Open yesterday, his first trophy in a clay court tournament. So Medvedev, who had been 0-3 in Rome prior to this year's edition, claimed his 5th title of the season and 20th of his career. He's building some nice momentum. And Sunday's final was the first in Rome since 2004 without either Rafa Nadal or Novak Djokovic. Side of the Times. Then on the ladies' side of the draw, Alina Rybakina, she won the women's title after her opponent Alina Kalanina was forced to retire with an apparent left leg injury while trailing 6-4 and 1-love. And that's where we leave our sport for now. We'll carry on chewing on all the Premier League gristle, no doubt, on the social media platforms. So let us know how you're feeling about City's win. But right now, let's get into some weather news and then see what the temperatures have in store for us.
Thank you
Not the most interesting sport news for some of us fans out there, if you know what I mean. But for now, this time to take a look at the weather. And starting on weather news, environmental news this morning is that the city of Tshwane has urged communities in Hammanskraal, north of Pretoria, and in surrounding areas not to drink tap water following a cholera outbreak in the region that has already claimed at least 10 lives. Now, the Gauteng MEC for Health, Nomantu Nkomo Ralehoko, says 95 people have thus far been treated at Jubilee District Hospital for symptoms of diarrhea, stomach cramps, and nausea, and about 40 people were admitted to hospital. Now, the City of Tshwane spokesperson Salbi Bokaba said the city was providing drinkable water by means of water tankers at informal settlements 3 times a week. Now, she also added that water trucks were being sent to formal areas daily, and this was to ensure that communities drank water safe for consumption. Now, Bokaba also added that some of the cases reported were from the Moratele area, which is not supplied by the city of Tshwane. Well, from our weather news, we head over to Sunrise Views, and we absolutely love seeing how you start your day. And starting us off this morning, we've got Mike from Graafrenet, and he shared a lovely image of the brightly lit purple sky in the background. I love how it's just out of focus, bringing that artistic appeal, and what a beautiful way to start the morning. Next up, we've got Buyelwa in her apartment. I believe this one is Buyelwa from Greenpoint, and it's an incredible view overlooking the city, showing off all the city lights before the sun's even popped up over the mountains in the distance. I love this one, Buyelwa. Thank you so much. Eunice is up next, and this one's from Kimberley, and we are having an incredible opportunity, I think, here to enjoy the fresh breeze outside, watching this blissful hue of orange, pink, a sky that's about to be lit up, and just like this day if you carry on watching the show. And then last up, we've got Nicholas Meyer in Hartenbos, who is always spreading beautiful views with his favorite breakfast show. And what a view this is. Woohoo! I can definitely say we've got some winners out here, Mzansi. Thank you so much for sending these pictures in. I absolutely love seeing how you start your day. Keep it coming throughout the morning and share your views with us on 063-408-8863. For now, though, let's take our first look at the temperatures across the country, starting off in Polokwane. Now, your day started at a low of 8 up to a high of 22 degrees. Not too much rain coming through. And Mbumbela sees similar conditions, 11 up to 21 with a little bit of drizzle. And much the same for Pretoria, 8 up to 22. And Johannesburg, a chilly start of 6 degrees, but moving up to a moderate 20 degrees Celsius. Carrying on over to Mahikeng now, where the day starts at a chilly 6, moving up to a moderate 23 degrees. Sunny skies expected, and much the same for Klerksdorp, 5 is your low, up to a high of 21 degrees Celsius. Over in Kimberley, the day starting at 7, up to a high of only 19 degrees. And Bloemfontein, much the same, a chilly start of 2 degrees, moving up to only 18 degrees Celsius. Over on the coast now and over to Richards Bay, the rain comes through from 11 up to a high of 20 degrees. Pietermaritzburg doesn't see too much rain, 6 is your low, up to a high of 17. 13 is Durban's low if you're in the area, and you move up to a moderate 21 degrees for your high. And Mthatha starting off at a chilly 5, moving up to a moderate 17 degrees Celsius. Carrying on around the coast now over to East London, where the day starts at a low of 10 up to a high of 18 degrees. Craddock brings the chill from 3 degrees, only moving up to 15 degrees Celsius. GQ Gqeberha sees the day starting at 10 up to a high of 18. And George, 11 is your low, up to a high of 18 degrees Celsius. Around the coast now over to the mother city, 13 is your day starting temperature and moves up to a moderate 19 degrees Celsius. Worcester sees the day starting at 9 up to 21. Sutherland, the chilly start of the day from 4 degrees up to a high of 15. And Uppington, moderate chilly temperatures from 10 up to 25 degrees Celsius. Again, Mzansi, thank you for sending those incredible pictures in. We're going to keep the show going right now and give you a little teaser of what's to come.
Thank you very much, Ryle. Yes, your Monday morning is now officially underway, and we are going to have a fantastic show going forward. Stick around with us. We did ask you on social media, how would you rate your current affairs knowledge around South African affairs? Well, if it's lacking in any part, we are here to help you with Mr. Roy Simpson, who's joining us after the break, chatting through all the major news stories that got this week buzzing already early this morning. We'll be back after the break. hear that jingle, you know we mean business. Good morning and welcome to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, right here on S3. Now, while we do our best to help you feel good, especially on a Monday morning, we can't just ignore all the things happening around us. Now, those are usually reflected in the headlines, so we brought in our news editor, our superhero of news, Roy Simpson, in to unpack what has been going on. And as always, we'd love to know what your take on those stories are. So share your thoughts and opinions with us on our WhatsApp line 0634088863 or on social media as well. Now,
this is a safe place.
it is a safe place.
So we can get into the meat of things, or the gristle, as I often like to refer to it. Great to see you, Roy.
Morning,
thank you so
morning,
much. I've got to say thank you to our viewers, because this has become such an interesting way of seeing the headlines as they're reflected in the lived experience every day. And I think the one lived experience for far too many, 2/3 of South Africans at the moment, unemployment. So last week we saw the release of a couple of quite revealing sets of data in the space, perhaps the most important of them, the latest unemployment figures. Unemployment did rise, but only a little bit. Is that success or failure? I don't know. Before that, things had been improving over most of last year. Roy, is this a little speed bump? Is it a blip in the radar? Is this the bigger picture of doom and gloom? How have you put this in perspective?
It really is an interesting question. The overall picture is doom and gloom. I think at 32.9% now, it was 32.7. I think the one thing we can't lose sight of, even as we go, okay, look, there is 4 quarters in a row of slowly descending unemployment numbers. This is still, by World Bank standards anyway, the world's worst unemployment rate, the world's worst. I mean, I literally saw a mention in one of these reports saying that Sudan, which is currently experiencing a civil war, has better employment figures than
Yeah, that's not great.
I suppose supply and demand, there is there is a link between those two things, but it's, and I know I'm grossly oversimplifying in this sense. Is this something that can be addressed in the system that we currently have? When you look at this scenario, when you say doom and gloom, is that because there is no answer in sight, or we know the answer, but we're just not getting there? Where does the battle line exist here, do you think?
The battle line to some degree is ideological. And that, of course, it presents a whole set of problems of its own. So, for example, you have the more laissez-faire capitalist approach, where people are saying, take away all these restrictions that business is facing. And there are a lot of them. So, for example, just minimum wage. Now, certainly anyone from the left is going to say that's sacred, that can't be touched.
It's a line in the sand.
Absolutely, because, in fact, it's a harder line than just a line in the sand.
Yeah, it's a line in the concrete. It should be. Yeah. It's a line in our democracy, yeah.
At the same time, there are all these legislative requirements on, if you are a business owner, you have to do this, that, the next thing, including now a formula for racial demographics within your organization. And these are being promulgated by governments. The government is telling you your HR functionality. It's telling you how many people of what color should be in your organization based on what sector of the economy you're in. Yeah. And obviously there's an argument that is problematic. So you have that group of people going, unfetter us and the market will create these jobs. Yeah. And then you've got people going, no, the problem is deeper than that, and going, well, what did America do post the Great Depression? And pointing to Roosevelt's New Deal, where you had the expanded public works program, effectively, and the state absorbing all the unemployed.
All those jobs.
Yeah. No, look, it's worrying, especially when we talk about unemployment. I mean, you take a look at our youth, you know, who's obviously very, very scared of what the future may hold for them. But I mean, who's worst affected by this? Just very quickly. I mean, 2 out of 3 young South Africans can't find work. I mean, that's what some of the headlines are saying. Is it mostly the youth of South Africa, or is it kind of spread across?
It is disproportionately the youth in a very real way. 62.9% is the youth unemployment rate, and that's between 15 and 24. The other thing is that is the straight unemployment rate, which means that those are people who could work and who are looking for work. The expanded unemployment rate is people who've given up looking for work.
Oh, wow.
And there are too many of the youth in that category as well. Then beyond that, black African women, disproportionately affected. Those who are carrying out work as domestic support. there's 67,000 jobs have been shed in that area in just the past quarter. So that's what you're looking at, young black women in particular, and then depending on where you live. So if you don't want to be living in the Northwest, for example, it's
geography does matter at the moment. Problem or solution? What is the key here? Does someone need to come and give you a job, or do you go out and create that job for yourself? Where does the burden lie? On you, the state? Let us know. 0634088863. We're talking unemployment, all current affairs. In fact, right now, weigh in, have your voice heard.
Great conversation, gents. But for now, though, it's time to turn our attention from the hard news to that feel-good news.
Introducing new Panado Pediatric Syrup 5ml sachets. They're really convenient to pack and easy to use, so you're always prepared for pain and fever, anytime, anywhere.
Oh yes, now this Mother's Day we had a wonderful chance to express gratitude for the amazing moms in our lives. Now, with Panado's A Dose of Care campaign, which we've been absolutely loving, we are able to make it even more memorable by nominating deserving moms for a chance to win daily prizes worth 2,000 Rand. And today is no exception because we have our final winner. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a drum roll together for Ramatsimale Macholade! Yes, now she was nominated by Boredi, and Boredi wrote the following. I nominate Ramatsimale because love, care, and kindness ensure that the family stays united. She is responsible and humble, and of course using that hashtag, a dose of care, hashtag Panado SA. And we have them both on the line right now. Let's say good morning. Morning.
Morning, everyone. Morning, listeners.
How are we doing? How are you doing? You're a winner. How are you feeling?
We are feeling, I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Am I speaking to Boredi now, right?
No, it's Mabato.
Oh, Mabato.
The winner, yes.
Ah, Mabato, well, nice to speak to you as well. How are you feeling now that you're a winner? What does it mean to you?
I am really excited, really excited. I don't know what to do. I'm really excited. I thank you so much, and I would like to also thank Boredi for choosing me.
I can't thank her enough as well. Maybe I can ask you this. What does a dose of care mean to you?
A dose of care means a lot to me because we are working underground, you know? Then sometimes when we come outside, your body is just itchy. Just itchy. Then you have to take a Panado just to cool up down the pains.
All right. Well, at least you've got something sorted, and that's the fact that you're not only a winner, but you're using a great product like this too to help you with all your issues in the day. I want to say thank you again for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this competition, and thank you for being the incredible person that you are. I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
And to you, Mzansi, as well. That's how easy it was. I want to thank you for joining in the celebrations of amazing moms in our lives this Mother's Day. What an incredible comp this has been. And of course, don't forget that Panado's Dose of Care is always here to help provide a little extra care for those deserving moms. And we're using that hashtag Panado SA and a dose of care. And just like that, you could be a winner.
A daughter is just a little girl who grows up to be your best friend. Since daughters are such a gift of love, you can show yours how much she means to you by gifting her the chance to win a 2,000 Rand dose of care cash. Each weekday from the 22nd of May to the 2nd of June, Panado SA is giving away 2,000 Rand to a much-loved daughter. If that is a dose of care which you would love your daughter to win, enter by replying to the hashtag Panado SA and hashtag a dose of care competition post on Expresso's Instagram, Facebook and Twitter pages. Don't forget to include hashtag Panado SA and hashtag a dose of care. T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
If they haven't broken his spirit yet, they're never going to. Let's feed off that energy right now. We're back with our look at the major news stories of the week. And our news editor, Roy Simpson, is back to help us unpack and understand the implications thereof. This one, I'm struggling to understand just how far-reaching and damaging numbers like this can be. Set the scene, my friend.
Look, it's shocking. Before the break, we were talking about the country's unemployment figures, which is serious as well. But now around the data around literacy. Now, the Progress in International Reading Literacy study says 81% of grade 4 students cannot read for meaning. Sure.
Grade 4.
Yeah, grade 4. Now this, it sounds frightening, Roy. Even the education minister admits that it's one of the worst in the world. Firstly, what is going on and what can we learn from this?
Wow. Well, if we can read for meaning, we could potentially learn quite a lot, unlike the 10-year-olds in South Africa. The minister's been slightly disingenuous when she said it's one of the worst in the world. That's true for a given value because only 57 countries partook in this Pearl's survey. But last time there were 50 and we were stone last out of 50. This time they're 57. And we are stone last out of 57. It's a big study. It's really credible. There are 400,000 kids that take part in this thing. And to give you a sense of how big the problem is, our score was 288. And obviously it's difficult to know what that means. The top score, which was Singapore, was 587. So the gap between first and 57th is 300 points.
Okay.
The gap between us and number 56, so the second worst performer in the world, is 90 points.
Sure.
So we are that far adrift of the other 95% of the participants. So our numbers are really appalling. And the idea that 4 out of 5 10-year-olds in this country can read a piece of text,
Understand.
put it down, and not be able to tell you what happened in that story.
It is a disadvantage that will haunt them for the rest of their lives. If you look at that bridging the gap from school, once you've got, and you can get schools with 100% pass rates that are not converting into job creation. We know that's a whole different conversation, but it's those critical social skills that come with that understanding, the ability to be able to process, that is terrifying. Almost as terrifying as, but it speaks to being able to understand what we're talking about right now. How does life apply to you? Absolutely. It's a dangerous, terrifying thing. Almost as terrifying as, dun dun dun, stage 8. What does stage 8 even look like? The light's never coming back on.
Stage 8 for most people is about 14 hours a day of the lights off. And there've been some interesting discussions recently. We know that Kgosientsho Ramokgopa has admitted that he suspects stage 8 is coming. Recently, though, you'll have noticed that his statements are much vaguer. And I think he's taking his cue from his boss. Because President Cyril Ramaphosa was in the Western Cape and was asked by a journalist, are we going to see stage 8? And his reply was a little bit of a wry smile, which was a bit of a giveaway, I thought, followed by, it's going to be a difficult winter, which is as good as yes. I mean, here's a person.
Let's not go outright and say it, but
just not a principal headline.
And that's what we've got. We know that the schedules up to stage 16 are being prepared at the moment. They should be ready quite soon. And we know that when it was stage 4, we went, stage 4. And then they were preparing something up to stage 8, impossible. But then we were on stage 6. Now we're pretty sure that, let's say in the next 3 weeks, we'll probably touch stage 8. There's a really good chance of that. So I'm afraid, yes, the short answer is there's a really good chance.
Do you feel we're any closer? So much is being spoken about transition, not just the long-term sustainable future, but this immediate transitional phase. Are we all right? Should we be terrified? How are you reading this progression and how fast we're moving through these stages to that point? How exposed are we, do you think?
I think we're quite exposed. I think the Julius Malemas of the world who are shouting, the grid's going to collapse, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're more sophisticated than that.
To stop that,
but in terms of an immediate solution, there simply isn't one. So Gwede Mantashe, everyone's brought the car power ships back onto the menu now, and there seems to be an indication that they're coming in.
The thumbs up is there,
However, Liz McDade from the Green Connection has been telling us that once the ship sets sail, and in fact docks here in South Africa, it's still a full 12 months before that's going to start pumping electricity onto the grid.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, the game plan's changed around Car Power Ship. We're no longer talking about 1,200 megawatts. Suddenly, we're talking about 3,000 megawatts.
Bigger deal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's starting to feel like all those concerns we raised about money are at the forefront of people's minds rather than fixing the electricity problem.
Exactly.
So prognosis not so good, I'm afraid. A bit dim.
Are we surprised? No, just turn that rheostat up, my friends. Let us know what solutions started popping into your mind as you heard all of these challenges this morning. We'd love to hear from you. 0634088863. Let's keep the conversation going.
Hey, speaking of solutions, I've got a solution for you, especially if you were naughty this weekend and packed on a few extra meals in that you shouldn't have. Because, don't worry, we got you covered. The recipe for six-pack abs isn't all that complicated, actually. You crank out an abs workout, eat a nutrient-rich diet, and consume fewer late-night pizzas in a single eating, and you'll be one step closer. But jokes aside, though, the fact is that if you want to do yoga better, run faster, squat heavier, it all begins with your core. And we've got the master, the sensei in the building right now. He's going to take us through some of the best exercises. He's the athlete and gym owner, Seb Prentice, in the building. Seb, how you doing, bro?
Good in you, Ralph.
Good, man. Always excited to see you because I know I'm going to get educated. The body's going to learn something and something I can keep with me for pretty much the rest of the movements that I do for the rest of my life, right?
Yes.
What do you got for us this morning?
As you said, yeah, the core it's important for everything. It's fundamental. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep it nice and simple, as I like to do today. We're going to do 2 exercises, and the format is super simple as well. So we're going to do 20 seconds of each exercise, followed by a 20-second rest. And then depending on how tired you are, what your fitness levels are at, you can just repeat and
just keep going.
Whether it's 1 round or it's 10 rounds, that's completely dependent on you.
One thing I must just bring up is the fact that I had no idea in the beginning that your core and your abs were actually very different.
Yes.
And how beneficial a good, strong core is for any movement, any athlete, no matter what you're doing, it's going to make it so much better.
Exactly.
Hopefully we're going to work on that right now, yeah?
Precisely.
Nice, okay, let's get into it.
Exactly. So the first one is a variant of the plank. So
Okay.
we're going to be planking like this, and it's okay to just do this if this is challenging enough for you, but to take it up just another level and to get the heart rate up a little bit, we're going to reach out for something imaginary in front of you. You can put a water bottle or something here, and you can just tap it like that.
Are we alternating?
We're alternating, yes.
Right. Now my hips are like trying their very best to sway from side to side to kind of counterbalance me.
Exactly, and what you're going to want to do is try and keep your hips as still as possible, try and limit the movement, that's going to be really tough, and engage your glutes, squeeze your glutes, because as you
Oh
said,
yeah, that makes a difference.
the core and the abs are actually different things. So your abs form part of your core, and your glutes actually form part of the core as well.
So it's all kind of connected, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
That's why you'll see when you squeeze your glutes, everything else becomes more stable as well.
Yeah,
'Cause that's the
rock hard top, yeah.
that's one of the main functions of the core, is to stabilize the body.
And at the same time, this is making a big difference in this movement. I went from it being a little bit easy to stimulating the entire body, feeling the stimulation in the core, and almost like shaking, just trying to control it. It makes a
Exactly.
really big difference in the quality of the movement as well, man.
Precisely,
Nice. So how many reps of this will we do, or how long will we do this for?
So we'll do that for 20 seconds.
Okay.
And then obviously we've done a little bit more than 20 seconds
Yeah.
now, so we're quite tired.
Yeah.
But then we're gonna go into another plank variation, but with a mountain climber. So
Oh, okay.
slow and controlled. Bringing your knees up as high as possible. Ideally wanting to touch your elbows.
Yeah, I can definitely feel the stimulation. I can feel the abs squeezing as they try and get close to my elbows. Wow, this is proper, man. I normally do these with a lot of speed, which involves more cardio. But this is really changing the game up. I'm feeling a proper concentration in this abdominal region.
And then your obliques as
Yeah, a
well.
little bit of the obliques as well. Levi lines coming through. I like
Exactly.
this, man.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So I like the fact that you're not making this complicated.
Yeah,
Two
nice and
exercises at the same time. I'm feeling stimulation in the upper body as well. So we're getting that extra stimulation in the entire body. And the fact that you get those cues right, I think this is what it's about. It's that quality of movement over quantity. And when you do it
Exactly.
right like this, oh, you get all the bang in your buck. Let's go for another round. Maybe Mzansi can join us for this. You ready, guys? We're gonna go for 20 seconds, right?
20 seconds.
Seb's bringing the heat, 20 seconds of a plank. Let's go, Mzansi. Wow. Try not move your hips, he says. I'm trying. Oh, this is good. Proper. Whew. Hope you're enjoying this one, Mzansi. Whoa.
Okay, let's get ready to swap.
Okay, about to swap, about to go into that last exercise right now. 20 seconds left. Keep going, Mzansi. You got this. Feel the burn. Woo. Oh. Okay, you weren't joking about this one, bro. Woo. Okay. Mzansi, I hope you're enjoying this workout. I hope you're enjoying the pop that your abs are getting right now. We're going to carry on with this workout. And of course, you can join us a little bit later. We've got round 2 with the sensei in just a bit. And we've got the legs pumping for this one. We'll see you there. Woo!
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso right here on S3. For the last time, we are back with a look at our major news stories of the week with Roy Simpson, and we're going to stick with the international news right now. Roy is here, of course, to help us unpack and just go through those headlines to unpack exactly what they mean. And laugh just a little bit, because news is serious, but we're taking a nice and light approach to it. Now, the G7 nations have been holding a summit meeting as the 7 most economically powerful democracies that have a big influence on world affairs. And the headlines seem to suggest that they are taking a more hardline stance against China. Okay, so Roy, what have this whole thing culminated in? Why are we taking this hardline stance? Because I know that there's diversifying supply chains, there's, to reduce the dependence on one country, and China's not very happy.
No, of course not. It's more about the rhetoric that goes around it, though. Because here you have 7 liberal democracies, 7 capitalist countries. They are economically all the superpowers within their sphere. And they have a problem, certainly judging by the statements that came out of the summit, which was held in Hiroshima. Their statements are all about opposing Chinese economic coercion. That's what needs to be opposed. And I see that, look, yes, this is the same group of nations busy leveling sanctions against Russia, for example, and who have a program of sanctioning countries and individuals whose ideologies and practices they don't agree with.
Different, yeah.
So there's a real smack of hypocrisy about it, and that, of course, plays straight into state media in China, where they're pointing out the hypocrisy of this. But at the same time, there are issues that need to be dealt with. So they're saying to try and ameliorate that and sort of keep a balance, because their problem is they need trade with China. Everything, the whole global economy is so interlinked, and China is such a big cog in that wheel.
Big player,
so to try and ameliorate what they're saying, which is all very negative around China, they were saying we would like to see, the world would like to see a growing China that plays by the international rules. Of course, they're setting the international rules. But one of those, for example, is intellectual property rights. And that is a big
It's massive for South African producers. I've spoken to a lot of guys who are making stuff in China who say if you take it there, it's gone.
It's got the next thing, it's on the shelves, replicated, maybe not perfectly, the spelling would be wrong, but it's a quarter of the price. And then that's it. That's your entire business model shot.
Gone. Yeah.
So that's one of the issues. But yes, you're right. It's very loose around how they're going to cooperate. And if China withdraws its support for a country, they're somehow going to fill that gap. But they haven't told us how they would.
Yeah, come look at our little neck of the woods, see what's happening on the African continent. I think they're far ahead of the curve there. Let's talk about things being taken away from us. We thought sweeteners were fine. The WHO steps in and says, no, for weight loss, sweeteners aren't the right option. What is going on here? We've just debunked the whole weight loss industry.
30 years of statements and support from the WHO, I think the important thing to note here is that people with a pre-existing diabetes condition, this information does not apply to them. I think that's an important caveat. But otherwise, the WHO is basically walking back several decades of wisdom and going, we've had these big studies, and effectively sugar replacements, so non-sugar sweeteners, just produce no results in terms of reducing weight loss. They don't help in avoiding the onset of diabetes. In fact, the data suggests that the cardiovascular problems are increased by a lot of these. And in fact, the onset of type 2 diabetes is actually, driven by these non-sugar sweeteners. So it's a complete reversal of the previous wisdom. This is intended for government consumption at this stage, but of course we're going to discuss it in the public realm.
Sure,
but effectively sweeteners are off the table. The WHO says they are not the thing we're looking for. It's obviously going to destroy an entire industry, as you said. Maybe it's good news for the sugarcane farmers.
For something, the OG's back in the hood. But I think the bottom line here is the headline for today: there are no quick fixes. Unfortunately, a diet ain't going to do it. It's that fundamental shift, I think. But these have been some crazy headlines. If it's shaken your foundations a little bit, we'd love to know how. 063-408-8863 if you want to chat about anything this morning. Even leg day, you're allowed to do it, because day is leg day. And then a little bit of call.
Oh yeah, welcome back, Mzansi. We're just finishing up. Let me tell you, the abs are burning right now. But I hope you enjoyed that first session. We're still here with Seb, and we're about to move from the core to legs. And of course, incorporating leg exercises into a comprehensive fitness routine is crucial to staying active, strong, and even independent, let's say that. Now, leg exercises also help prevent injuries. It improves your overall health. It maintains mobility and working some of the largest muscles of the body. So once again, we've got the athlete, the gym owner, Seb Prentice in the building to show us once again how to fire up the legs and complete this workout this morning. Man, abs are still burning. They're still popping. I can feel them coming out of here.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was good. And I love the quality of that. But let's move it straight to the legs now. I'm hoping for more of the same in terms of that style. Quality over quantity.
Exactly. So we're going to keep it simple again. Same format, just 2 exercises. And like you said, training legs is so important, particularly your posterior. For a lot of issues that people have sitting a lot of the day, you get these tight hip flexors and lower back pain.
Posture starts to change and everything.
Strengthening your posterior can help a lot with that. So that's what we're gonna focus on.
And on that note, for anybody that is starting their fitness journey, maybe you even got a marathon up ahead. I know Seb's planning for the Cape Town Marathon, and that's obviously why we're training legs as well. So if you want to start that journey, you want to find out more, reach out to this man. He's a plethora of information. Or if you're based in town in Sea Point as well, you can go to his gym and get yourself jacked up. But for now, here's a trailer to what you can expect. Let's get into it, bro. What are we doing first?
Okay, so for the first one, and I actually saw you doing this in the warm-up, so it's fitting. We're going to be doing an RDL, which is a Romanian deadlift. So it's kind of like a normal deadlift, but you're not going all the way down to the ground, and you're focusing just on this hip hinge. So pushing your bum out. What I find helps a lot of people is if you put your hands on your thighs like this, you just slide them down, feel that stretch in your hamstrings, and then extend back up and squeeze at the top.
Posterior chain stretching out there. Maybe you can show us a side view, because I love how neutral your spine is. You're not rounding it over. Exactly. I love that form. That's important, right?
That's important. And also focusing on trying not to squat at the bottom. You can bend your knees slightly, but
don't use your legs
hinging at the hip.
Lower down.
Exactly. The movement is coming from your hips.
Yeah, I can feel that for sure. The hammies, the glutes, everything else, especially when I try and maintain a neutral spine.
That is the one. Okay, I like that.
So we're
That's
doing that
something a
for
lot of us don't address at all. So that would be about 20 seconds of that? Or
20 seconds of that, exactly. And
Nice.
if it's, you can make it a little bit more challenging by grabbing a bag or something at home that's
adding some
add a bit
weight
of
to that.
resistance.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
Nice. All right. Warmed up, stretched out, ready for it. What's
And
next?
then next we have reverse lunges. So kind of keeping with that core theme from earlier, this is going to really get you focused on trying to keep stable,
Yes.
activate that core, keep it nice and strong, and just really dropping deep into it like that. You're also going to feel it in your hamstrings and your glutes, a
Yeah.
little bit of quads as well.
Now, I notice a lot of people often tend to like neglect that leg in the front, the one that's like supporting you and stabilizing
Yes.
you often. And they'll use the leg that's shooting backwards instead to kind of support you. I find now when you're doing this a lot slower, you tend to want to like kind of fall. You need to stabilize yourself
Exactly,
more.
and
You need to use your core and everything else more. So again, quality over quantity is really paying tribute to what I think is important in this movement, right? It's to really not like wobble and force good efficiency in that movement, good control, not wobbling around, and that means you engage right throughout.
Exactly. And don't rush it, like you said, nice and controlled,
Nice,
focusing on going all the way through that movement.
It's pretty crazy because if someone was to ask me, hey man, like how many lunges can you do or reverse lunges? I'd be like, dude, I can do like hundreds and hundreds. Ask me to do it like this. That number slowly decreases quite a bit. I'm already feeling the burn. I'm feeling the stimulation, not only in the quad, like you said, but right now coming back, the glute is firing, and that's what I absolutely love. Clearly, there's a reason why you're pushing for that sub-3 in the Cape Town Marathon. I can see because you're doing work like this. So, man, thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks, Ralph.
This is
Always
what
a
I
pleasure.
love. Quality movement from a quality coach, from a quality trainer. And of course, if you want to start your journey, you want to get your fitness on, doesn't matter where you're at. This man's a guru, he's got you covered, and he's going to be helping you. So find him online, and of course, we're going to carry on with the magic of the show in just a bit. Don't go anywhere. Nice search, bro.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, welcome back. Thank you so much. Yes, there's been like an idiotic giggle to this whole show, but that's just us dealing with life, okay? Because on a Monday morning, life is hectic and intense.
Yeah, it does.
And if we're going to hit stage 8, which we are not hitting today just yet, but we need to get cozy. You need a cuddle buddy, okay? There is no better feeling, I think, than being warm and cozy with a hearty and healthy meal to keep those bodies healthy from the inside out. Now, mouth-watering red pepper, tomato, and lamb knuckle stew is the ultimate hearty meal for winter, and it's brought to you by Carenza Parasurfing, because we have loaded as much vitamin C as we can. Well, I say we. These ingredients that we are grouping together, our foodie team have done an amazing job, and this just speaks comfort. You could almost put this in a quilt and go to sleep next to it. I think you could do that.
That sounds lovely, actually. But I gotta say, kudos to the team exactly for doing that. I think this completely just complements Carenza's Parasurfing right now, especially with the ingredients, the nutritional value we put into this. And a stew is just hearty, warm, good food, right?
Feeds the gut in the right way. So let's put some of that good energy in. You've got the blow-by-blow. So take me through where we've gotten to and what I need to do.
So where we've gotten with this recipe, what we started off with was our roasting. And we took a tomato and a red pepper. Why? Not only just for good flavor, not only just good color, but again, loaded with vitamin C and some good nutrition in that. So you cut it into quarters, you let that roast for a bit, and we'll bring that into this recipe a little bit later on. So let's pretend we've already done that step.
Okay, so those are roasted. They've got that beautiful flavor that comes from the roast.
Then step 2 would have done our lamb knuckle, right? So you don't have to necessarily use lamb knuckle, but lamb knuckle has great fat and good fats as well, which has like collagen in it and a lot of other like great stuff for the joints.
Of course.
And then obviously some good flavor to it as well. And then
all
protein.
the flavor, yeah.
So we're taking this, we add a little bit of flour to it, and then we just brown it in the pot. And we've already done that. We browned it for a little bit, popped it straight back in here, and then voila, step 2 is done. And now we're gonna move over to some of this plant-based nutritional value. So you've got some onions and garlic and bay leaves that you can start off with over there.
Okay, so we've got the fats, because we obviously browned that's going to really sizzle, our knuckle in here. So we've got all that fat flavor there. It's caramelized onto our pot itself. So you want that flavor to kind of go all the way through. I'm cooking it quite hot and heavy because we don't have a huge amount of time.
And I know you always want that like TV sizzle. I know you. You're going to make the people salivate.
Deglazing, I don't know if that's a term.
You can say that
it kind of makes sense to me. But you're literally taking all of that flavor, that advanced, complex flavor of the lamb, and you're kind of transporting that into the fats. I love that.
Exactly. Waste not, want not. Now, I love it. So you've got some bay leaves that you want to chuck in there, obviously get that flavor to be absorbed.
Hello, Chef Clem.
Yeah, and then we've got some carrots and celery. So again, some, carrots, beta carotene, I think, with the eyesight, amongst many other things. Celery, good fiber, I guess. Yeah. And obviously mixing that all up. And then together with that, we're obviously just going to add more flavor into this. We've got, throw some oil in. We've got some tomato paste, some lamb rub. So that's like a little spicy concoction that you can throw into that. And of course, we've mixed up some stock. So I'm just going to stir this for you just to make sure that it is all good. Ooh, I'm just thinking the smell of that alone, the lamb knuckle added to the stock. This is stew. This is winter warming food right here.
But there is something really healthy about this kind of cooking. When it takes time to cook the food, that kind of energy, you're doing a lot of the work that your tummy would have to do.
Yes.
So that you can get the nutrients out of it. There is something really, really healthy about a slow cook. Absolutely. When we talk about comfort, there's a reason why it comforts us. Now, I think there is nothing like a healthy meal to pair with the perfect medication to combat colds and flus. Think of this as a system that you're trying to balance out. They say eating healthy foods fills your body with energy, and this is all the right kind of energy, and the nutrients to build your immune system. So imagine your cells smiling back at you, saying, thank you, all of them together going, yay, Ryle, thank you, yeah, so cool.
I can hear them right now getting excited, especially after that incredible workout we did with Seb. The man's preparing for his Cape Town Marathon. It's amazing what he does with his body, and he does things like this. He fuels it correctly, and he does that so well. And that's something you can do right now. You can get in on this. You can find this recipe and the inspiration, and let me tell you the flavors.
When are we going to put these puppies back in?
Yes, so this can go in right away, man. So you're done with the stock. You can pop your peppers. You can pop the lamb knuckle into that. Let it all just come together. Slower, the longer, the better, because that flavor just keeps getting better and better in the pot. And voila, you have a winter warming sensation right there.
One of the bay leaves is trying to escape. No, baby, you've got a job to play. This looks, and if you think of the complexity of the flavors that we built up here, so simply, but it's honor the food, honor that meat, honor the fats and the integrity of that meat, caramelize it so you can get that depth of flavor. But this is so simple and easy. Man,
Well
I'm going to
played,
wrap it in a blanket
Well
and put it in my duvet, and I'm going to just chill there tonight.
Someone's called dibs on this, of course.
Man.
Zanzi, you can get this recipe found at expressoshow.com. All the inspiration that you get and one for winter warming. And with that, we're going to warm up the rest of the show, and official duties must commence. So you want to standing by with the latest. Hope you enjoyed.
Bring your buckies.
Nice job, man.
Stand your best chance of beating colds and flu this winter and being one of 2 winners of 5,000 rands each with Corenza Parasurfing. To find out how the triple effect of Corenza Parasurfing makes it an essential on your shopping list this autumn and how you can win 5,000 rands in cash, catch Expresso from the 15th to the 18th of May and again the 22nd to the 25th of May and manage cold and flu symptoms this winter. Simply reply to the competition posts on the Expresso social media pages using hashtag Corenza Parasurfing and hashtag BeatWinterFlu. T's and C's apply.
All right, 2 minutes before 7 o'clock, let's get into another round of your news headlines for this Monday morning. Starting off with your national news, Deputy President Paul Mashatile has held a dialogue with the businesses leaders hosted by the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the JSE. Now, during the meeting, captains of industry, CEOs, senior executives and business associations agreed to collaborate on to rebuild businesses and investor confidence and acknowledged that they could play a role in resolving some of the challenges SA faces. Now, Mashatile said as a means of moving forward, engagement with the JSE-listed companies would be institutionalized for future engagement and as a platform to expedite the implementation of the commitments made. And then the SA Reserve Bank is expected to increase the repo rate once again. The announcement is expected on Thursday. Economists say the hike will likely be anything between 25 and 50 basis points. Now, this as the Reserve Bank attempts to bring down inflation, which has been above its target bracket for precisely a year this month. Meanwhile, consumers continue to battle the high cost of living, and it doesn't appear as if things are about to improve. Making international news headlines this morning, leaders of the world's richest democracies have emphasized their support for Ukraine. The highlight thus far of the G7 summit in Hiroshima, Japan, was the visit of the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who called for greater support from Western countries against Russia's invasion. Now, US President Joe Biden promised military aid of $375 million, which includes artillery and armored vehicles. Biden also came out in support of training Ukrainian pilots on American-made F-16 fighter jets. Now, Biden said Zelensky assured him Ukraine would not use the jets to strike targets inside Russia. And Africa will not accept that it should just continue to be a source of raw materials for the rest of the world, the African Union's Trade Commissioner has said. Albert Muchanga says instead his continent wishes for a future of genuine and mutually beneficial relationships with its trade partners. Now, the G7 summit is an annual gathering of the world's richest and largest democracies, Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and the US, to address urgent international issues and coordinate on global policy. And we end up with this story. A guitar smashed by Kurt Cobain, the late frontman of US rock band Nirvana, has sold for nearly $600,000. Now, the busted black Fender Stratocaster had been expected to sell for about a tenth of that amount at Saturday's auction at the Hard Rock Cafe in New York. Now, Cobain took his own life in 1994. The guitar was smashed as Nirvana was working on their breakout album Nevermind in the early 1990s. It's been put back together, but it is no longer playable. Cobain gained world fame in the early 1990s as Nirvana's creative force. Now, he is known to have smashed a number of Fender Stratocasters during his career. Now, the busted one went on sale for an estimated price of $60,000 to $80,000, but the closing bid was $596,900. Now, the three-day sale also included memorabilia from other music legends, including Elvis Presley, Freddie Mercury, Janet Jackson, and Dolly Parton. And with that story, we leave your news headlines. We'll have one more update for you at 8 o'clock right now. Here's Graham with another round of your sports.
Thank you so much, Ewan. Let's start on a celebratory note for some, a guitar smashing moment for others. Let's talk about footy. Man City have celebrated a third successive Premier League title triumph. You can smash guitar now. And a 1-0 victory over Chelsea just to, I think, add to the celebrations in a pretty relaxed party atmosphere at the Etihad yesterday. So City were in fact confirmed as champions without even playing. That was after Nottingham Forest's win over Arsenal on Saturday. Evan Ferguson then scored twice in the first half as Brighton beat Southampton 3-1 to secure European football for the first time in their history. Well done to the Seagulls. At the other end of the table, struggling Leeds, they lost 3-1 at West Ham to compound their misery, while Brentford beat Spurs, of course, 3-1. And then Liverpool drew 1-1 with Aston Villa. Then staying with footballing news, heartbreak for South Africa as Wydad Casablanca triumphed over Mamelodi Sundowns on the away goals rule at the Loftus Versfeld Stadium on Saturday afternoon to advance into the final of the CAF Champions League again. The semi-final leg, a match that ended 2-2 on the day, and that was 2-2 on aggregate. But the Moroccan side took the tie on the away goals and will now have the chance to defend their African crown in that final next month. So Yahya Atiyata Allah's in-swinging free kick from the right flank was headed into his own net by Mutobi Mvala for a 2-2 scoreline in that 83rd minute, and that proved to be the decisive moment of the tie. Oh, so much to commiserate to all the fans out there. Now we turn to rugby and more celebratory moments for La Rochelle. They become the 5th team to win back-to-back European Champion Cups on Saturday when they clawed back a 17-point deficit to beat Leinster 27-26 in an incredible show of grit. The Irish province made a dream start. They were 17-0 up after just 11 minutes, thanks to a try from Jimmy O'Brien and then 2 from Dan Sheehan. But the defending champions managed to cut that half-time deficit to just 9 points, thanks to tries from centres Jonathan Dante and UJ Suteni. Then the biggest comeback in Champions Cup final history was capped by George Henry Colombe's late try to seal that momentous win. Then we turn to tennis now, maybe a bit of sign of the times. Daniil Medvedev beat the young upstart Holger Rune 7-5, 7-5 to win the Italian Open yesterday. His first trophy in a clay court tournament, amazingly enough. So Medvedev, who had been 0-3 or love 3 in Rome's prior to this year's edition, hasn't been a happy hunting ground for him. Claimed his 5th title of the season and 20th of his career. And Sunday's final was the first in Rome since 2004 without either Rafa Nadal or Novak Djokovic. Then on the women's side, Elena Rybakina won the women's title after her opponent Annalena Kalanina was forced to retire with an apparent left leg injury while training 6-4 and 1-love. And that's where we leave our sport for this hour. Hopefully not too much competition out on the roads as we get you to work safely. Let's get the latest on the traffic front.
Thank you so much, G. Yes, it's time to take our first look at the roads this morning and find out what's happening in traffic. And if you are in the Nyanga, Cape Town area, there has been an accident on the N2 inbound, and this after Borchard's Quarry. Now, the right lane is blocked, so please approach this area with caution when passing by. Carrying on with our warnings right now, the Centurion area in Gauteng, and this on the R55 route. Now, there were spikes in the road, so please approach this area with caution and don't forget to buckle up when driving. And lastly, in the Camperdown area for KZN on the N3 and the R103. Now, the roads will be closed at Linfield Park between 3 o'clock and 4 p.m. this afternoon. So please take this into consideration before hitting the roads this afternoon. And I think for anybody heading out there, please plan accordingly, buckle up and stay safe. For now, though, it's time to head from the roads to the weather and see what's happening in the latest when it comes to, well, all our news. Yes, reporting on weather news this morning. Now, water in the 17th century Trevi Fountain turned black when 7 young climate change activists yesterday released diluted charcoal into Rome's famous landmark. Now, the protesters from the Last Generation group held up banners stating, "We won't pay for fossil fuels," and shouted, "Our country is dying." Now, uniformed police waded into the water to remove the activists, and this was in a statement that the group called for an end to public subsidies for fossil fuels and linked the protests to deadly floods in the northern Italian region of Emilia-Romagna in recent days. Now, the group said one in 4 houses in Italy were at risk from flooding, and Rome Mayor Roberto Gualtieri condemned the protest. Now, the latest in a series of acts targeting iconic works of art in Italy. Now, Gualtieri said the city would now have to discard some 300,000 litres of water to clean up the world-famous attraction because it used recirculating water. Well, from our weather news, we head over to our favorite part, and that's seeing your sunrise views. Now, for this edition, we've got Maureen coming through in Durbanville, showcasing pastel yellow tones glimmering up the sky. We've got a lovely shot with the foreground and background all just lighting up the day. I absolutely love this shot indeed. Margaret comes through next in Durban, enjoying holiday feels. I love this. Look at those palm trees. This is giving me feelings that I need a holiday soon. It's only Monday though, so we'll get there. Don't worry. Next up, we've got Pat in Montclair, and this one was snapped. It's a lovely perspective of the sun blazing through the plants. A powerful image, so pretty, and all the promise of the sun just beaming through the shot. I love it. Amanda Holman comes through with this one, walking around False Bay. Wow, sending in a moment to remember. This view is absolutely phenomenal. It looks like she's out at possibly Dalebrook, tidal pool sensation, but what a beautiful way to start your morning. Thank you, Mzansi, for sending these pictures in. Keep it coming on 063-408-8860. We love seeing how you start your day. For now, though, let's take a look at the temperatures across the country, starting off in Polokwane. They start at a low of 8 up to a high of 22 degrees. Umobela sees they're starting at 11 up to a moderate 21. Pretoria, a chillier start of 8 up to only 22 degrees. And Johannesburg, 6 is your low up to a high of 20 degrees Celsius. Moving over to Mahikeng, where the day starts at a chilly 6 degrees up to a moderate 23. Sunny skies expected and very similar conditions for Klerksdorp. From 5, you move up to 21 degrees Celsius. In Kimberley, the day starts at 7 up to 19 degrees. And Bloemfontein, a chilly start of 2 degrees, only moving up to a moderate 18 degrees Celsius. Carrying on around the coast now and over to Richards Bay. Rain can be expected from 11. You move all the way up to 20 degrees Celsius. Pietermaritzburg sees a chilly start of 6 up to 17. Durban, 13 is your low up to a high of 21. And Mthatha, 5 degrees to start the day up to a moderate 17 degrees Celsius. Around the coast now and carrying on to East London, where the day starts at a low of 10 up to a high of only 18. Cradock sees a chilly start of 3 up to 15 degrees. GQ Gqeberha sees the day starting at 10 up to 18 degrees Celsius. And George, 11 is your low up to a high of 18 degrees. Over to the mother city now, 13 being your low up to a high of 19 degrees. Only very chilly conditions, and much the same for Worcester. 9 all the way up to only 21 degrees. Sutherland brings the chill even further. All the way from 4 degrees, you move up to only 15 degrees Celsius. And Uppington, from 10, you move up to a moderately warm sunny sky and 25 degrees Celsius. Thank you so much for sending those pictures in. We'll catch up in the next hour for a last edition of those sunrise shots. For now, though, let's see what's happening with the rest of the show.
Well, what could be happening on the show and for the rest of us is the energy saga as it relates to Stage 8. What will that mean for South Africa? What can we do about it? What does it herald? We'll find out from the experts in just a moment. We're talking load shedding just now.
Here's to the coffee magicians. The ones who know what you get out starts with what you put in.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's Monday and we are getting straight into the action. Now, we're talking about power. We had this conversation earlier, but let's dive a little bit deeper, right? The power crisis in South Africa continues. And Eskom is announcing last Thursday that the country could face possible stage 8 load shedding this winter as it keeps battling to keep the lights on. Now, there's also been talk of a total collapse of the grid, although the power utility has moved to all fears in that regard. But we have questions and we need answers. So here to speak more about the state of the grid, we have energy expert Matthew Cruz in the building. Matt, how you doing, bro?
Great, I'm good, thanks, you.
Good, I think we could be better, but let's see how this conversation goes.
You must have moments. In these moments, being an energy expert, someone who has been working this line for a while now, how scared should we be? Maybe let's start with what stage 8 actually looks like. On a practical level, how will that translate to our lived experience as a South African? What does stage 8 look like?
Great, so stage 8 is similar to stage 6 or stage 4, and it's an escalation above stage 6, but it will be the first time that we've ever had in South Africa. So on a practical level, it means that you won't have power for up to 14 hours per day. It varies between exactly which municipality you're in, between 12 and 14 hours, but 14 hours is the average that you won't have power for.
And we've just come out of, like, I was looking at my app, it was like 11 and a bit hours that we've been sort of dealing with in the last few weeks. So maybe something we're used to, but again, it's just getting worse, it seems. And I think this is possibly the reason why so many people are now talking about, whoa, like this number can't just be going higher and higher. Potentially there's got to come a breaking point, and we're hearing this talk of collapse. Why is this suddenly becoming even more prevalent when it comes to conversation? Is this a real scare? Is this something that we should be aware of? What's your thoughts on this, man?
Great, so actually there's a limited risk of an actual collapse. And when we talk about a collapse, we talk about a total blackout where all the power stations need to trip and be disconnected from the grid.
Okay.
That'll take about 3 weeks for the power to come back if that takes place, but this is not a highly likely scenario in my opinion. 20% chance.
Okay, can I breathe a little bit? Yeah, a little bit. Okay.
The reason being is that as we have load shedding stages escalate, that's actually reducing the risk of a total blackout. So that's why we increase the levels of load shedding.
Okay.
It's the South African way to unintentionally reduce our emissions and sort out the problem without even realizing we're doing it. That's how we do it. That's how we roll. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So much has been said about, and I know this is very complex. It can't just rest on cable theft, on damage to substations. When we look at this transition, where is that focal point on? Is it protecting the infrastructure that's there? Is it the transition? Just as a roadmap in your space, where is the focus now? Should we be really looking at protecting and enhancing what Eskom already has, or is it all about that kind of the microgrids, the grids around the grid? Where do you see this battle line?
So I see it more towards the latter than the former. So looking at industries and municipalities taking care of their own energy needs, and homeowners as well taking care of their own energy needs, mostly with solar. Generators used to be the backup that you would go to, but now with a power out for 6 to 8 hours per day, the diesel generator is just too expensive. So solar is the primary choice that people are going with. And unfortunately, the way that things are looking, it looks like load shedding is going to double over the next 5 years.
Wow.
Because of the way things are being done in Eskom, everything's very slow. The government's response, very reactive, very slow. 10 years ago, when we should have been doing the things to make sure we didn't have this energy crisis, we were making other decisions.
But I think that the solutions, as a result, are also coming faster. We've seen about 30 different summits happening within that green energy space, and I think more traction this year in the last 3 months than we've seen in the last 10 years. So maybe there is an opportunity in that space. Let us know if you're seeing solutions we might not be in your community. How do we tackle stage 8 and beyond? How does the energy crisis affect you? We'd love to hear from you. We'll continue this discussion right now.
All right, let's have some fun and games right now. Today, we are holding the power of creativity in our hands with the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra S Pen. Stick around for this one. Now listen, from sketching to masterpieces to taking quick notes, the possibilities are absolutely endless, and we are capturing all the behind-the-scenes moments to hashtag share the epic with you. I mean, pen in hand, there it is, neatly hiding within your Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. This is one powerful, powerful tool.
It really is, but there's a reason why these phones have replaced like laptops.
For sure, man. You can literally do anything. You can literally do anything. So here's what's going to happen.
Okay.
You've got your blindfold right there.
Got my face bra, yeah, I'm ready.
Your face bra. I'm going to give you the S23 Ultra with the S Pen.
You're giving it to me.
Well,
thank you, buddy.
Give it to you for now to use, and we're going to play a friendly game of Pictionary. Okay, so you're going to draw. I'm going to have to try and guess. But I know Ryle's standing by as well. Ryle, what you got there, buddy?
What's happening? All right, so I've got this device in my hand right now. I'm so excited. I'm going to try and play around with some of these features. So I'm currently on like a normal photo mode at the moment, right? I'm just going to go to more, find director's view, and oh, look at that. So you can see my view and you can see me at the same time. Hey, we were just chatting to you. So check this out. All right, I'm going to come to the ledge right now and check. We've got different options on these views. Let me just check the director's view. We've got, ooh, what's that do? Okay, that's just switched it up a bit. And then, ooh, that's a zoom, yeah. And then we've got layouts as well. This is really cool.
I can't see you, Lee.
You can't see anything, G. It just looks good.
I imagine it looks amazing, man.
Yeah.
This is what I love about this phone. It's because it's got so much different functionality and quality. I mean, the director's
phone
view,
is. Okay,
recording something and being able to see your own reaction, which I think is fantastic.
This is so cool. So I'm literally, I can comment while videoing. How cool is this? I can be like a commentator. And right now, we see you and in the distance over there with a beautiful shirt on. The checkered look is working.
Okay.
G with great posture, trying to draw something.
Okay, I'm going to start drawing. Okay, are you ready?
Go for it, draw something. Let's see if we can guess what you have there. And this is the great thing with the S Pen. You really get that pen to paper feel. It's fantastic. It's high sensitivity pressure levels, natural, accurate pen on paper feel, making comfortable when writing on or sketching. And the fine tips, of course, adds that precision to your creation. Wait, you're not drawing anything. Wait, hang on.
Wait, he's on eraser mode, I think. Get the pen out.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, that was brilliant what I just drew. You got to understand, it was gorgeous. Again. Okay, let's try again.
Let's see what you got here for us. Oh, no, what are you doing, buddy?
Okay.
Can you just...
I am blindfolded. Okay, I won't touch anything.
Go for it. Yes, you got it.
Here we go. You're on the page.
Whoa. I feel like I'm drawing off the...
Go, dude. This is very abstract art.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's add...
Oh, wait a minute. You're trying to draw me, aren't you?
Yeah. Is it tall and beautiful?
Yeah, for sure.
Gorgeous.
Looks exactly like me.
We're going to draw a little one of these over there.
Yeah,
in
sure.
The sky.
Okay.
Do you get it?
I will go out on a limb and say that you tried to sketch my portrait. Yeah, that's beautiful.
And print it, man, and put it out.
Can you now reveal what you've drawn? Because I have literally no idea.
It's a man.
Yeah, sure.
Walking. It is.
Yeah.
Walking. There you can see it's because I've got it flipped. If you need to flip it to the side.
Okay, flip it.
Whoa.
No, wow.
Okay, so if you can look sideways, there's his legs.
Okay.
Man.
And there's the head and the smile.
There's a smile. There's two eyes. So he's just seen you walk past. He was so good looking that his eyes went boom, like that.
His mouth left the body.
And there's the sun.
I
think that's absolutely brilliant, man.
Well, it's beautiful.
I'm going to do this, right? You can do it.
What do you?
Oh, there we go. I'm trying to rotate it.
Goodness.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
But I think that's actually not bad. And look how happy
let's go there. Let's just go there. But I mean, how did that feel? Just drawing.
It feels like a real pen.
That's the thing.
It feels like a real pen. There's something about the pressure. I would imagine as a fine artist, if you're a graphic artist, if you're working in this space, to have this level of nuance, absolutely beautiful. I'd love to see someone like a Grant Hines work in this space because there is something very tactile about this.
What I love about this is this really replaces, it can literally replace paper usage at all, because I mean any contracts that you need to sign or anything, you can do it with the S Pen on the phone, which is fantastic, and draw rather abstract and interesting things like we've seen this morning.
Just look at the screen and tilt your head like that, and it's perfect.
But I mean, you know, it's so much more than just drawing, Graham. You can use the S Pen as a remote control by clicking the side button, or with a simple mid-air gesture, you can capture shots, play music or video, switch presentation slides, much more. I mean, the applications are really endless, and I love this S Pen and the S23.
Well, on your way to work, you can work on the presentation, load it up, get there, and deliver the presentation.
Done.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
It's actually driving, buddy boy.
Well, exactly. While someone else is driving you.
There we go.
Exactly.
Because somebody would, because it's that important.
I love it, man. Thanks for giving me this phone, man.
Such a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy it, my friend. Enjoy it. Ryle, are you having fun, my boy? Ryle's just he's loving this.
He can see himself.
I'm having so much fun. This is so cool. I can't think of so many things that I could do with this, but right now what I'm going to do is a young link. So you guys can see the boys over there down below me. Well, don't worry about them because later on we're going to see this gent over here, Matthew Cruz, and we come here for part 2 of our conversation in just a bit. We'll see you there, Mzansi. Yow!
Ready? Wow. Mia, can you send me that? Sure. Can you send me that? Hey, can you send me that? Sure.
Make every training day epic. Buy the Galaxy S23 series at the Galaxy Watch 5 or Watch 5 Pro and get free Galaxy Buds 2 Pro valued at $3,999. T's and C's apply.
Now you can generously give a voice to Storytime. Visit our library of homegrown audio stories at cadbury.co.za.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for rejoining a vitally important discussion around the current state of load shedding and the power grid in itself. Obviously, the South African perspective needs discussion right now. And Matthew Cruz, who is an energy expert, has been letting us pick his brain. I'm sure you're like the most important guy in the room now, which is an amazing thing. I'm going to jump right in here because so much has been spoken about the transition. As much as the long-term future goals, sustainability, that's great, but we've got to survive winter. And there's going to be a lot of gas. There's going to be paraffin heaters. There's going to be cooking on this sort of, in this space. How do we use those safely? Do we have good governance for the now in what we should be, how we should be approaching that? Because this winter, there is going to be a lot of burning going on.
Yeah, that's very good. And so one of the things to note that's very important when you're burning paraffin or any kind of flame in your house to heat your house is to have some good ventilation.
Yeah.
So have your window open a little bit to make sure that you have enough oxygen in the room for yourself to have, you know, the air you need to breathe.
Yeah.
So also very important when you're going to heat your house during the night, the flame that's on can really use up all the oxygen in the room. So you need to have your window open a little bit, even though it's going to make you a little bit colder. If you're going to be using any kind of fire to heat yourself up, you need ventilation in order to breathe
while we've had horror stories in the depths of winter.
Yeah, and that's my concern right now. And maybe being the expert that you are, possibly I could use your time right now more effectively and maybe help Mzansi. What are our options? And I think realistically, when you look at the majority of the households in South Africa, we don't have the option of solar. We don't have the option of generators. We've got a deal. But you still got to make food, and there's still other things we need, right? So what are your potential solutions or other alternatives when it comes to the general household in South Africa? What can we do when load shedding hits? What would you advise?
Great. So I myself, I went to Dis-Chem and I went and bought a whole bunch of warm clothing for myself and my wife because we don't have the option of putting rental on our property, solar on our property because of rental. So there's heating that doesn't involve cooking or burning anything or using electricity. We also got ourselves a small little gas heater that's very affordable. Can make yourself some tea, make a small meal at night, and check your load shedding schedule as well to see when you do have power, and then try and coordinate when you're making your food around that. That's recommended from my side.
Logistics stuff. Yeah, I think it's just how you run that little system, and things are getting better, but it feels like it's always under this impending doom. 3,000 megawatts less this winter. That's not what you want to hear going into the leanest of times. The Minister of Electricity has come in. I've had the opportunity to host a couple of panels as he's been plying his trade. I'm struggling to understand fully what the role is. It feels PR. It feels like he has to change the conversation to a degree. Should he be doing more? Should his department be doing more? What is the role of the Ministry of Electricity right now, do you think?
So I'm very glad that the Minister of Electricity came into the position that he's in, mostly because it changes the conversation that we were having around energy. Previously, there was kind of like, Pravin and Grady, and there was a bit of a loggerheads, nothing really happening, no real progress happening. But now the whole conversation is shifting, and we're getting a lot more transparency in the sector because of the new electricity minister. So I'm actually glad that he's in his position. I'm glad with what he's doing, bringing a lot of vision and a lot of transparency to Eskom, and also giving us some long-term projections for the first time, like we're seeing here now, where Eskom is saying themselves, we might have stage 8 taking place over winter, potentially even stage 10 from our analysis, but we hope it doesn't go there.
And he's working. He's been on stages, taking those questions, taking it on the chin. So from that perspective, he's out there and he is changing.
Quite a big role to just jump into and deal with. Look, we've got so many people talking about this as well. I've obviously listened to this conversation. We've got a voice note right now from Lerato, which I'd love to play and maybe possibly weigh in on this, but let's hear what she has to say.
So the Minister of Electricity, Kgosi Entu, tweeted a picture of himself and the Zulu King this weekend where he spoke about a collaboration. So, but we now ask ourselves, what is this man's priority? Because there's always just new ministers, new load shedding, new stages of load shedding, new coins, but no new solutions. What is actually going on?
The voice of the people.
I mean, you're not alone, Lerato. Everyone is asking these questions. And for you, on a slightly deeper level, you've got to consider these things because this is a big problem, but it's also people that are perpetrating a lot of the negative elements. How do you put it in perspective yourself to still work in the space, to be proactive, to have a positive mindset? How have you found your way navigating through the space when you get these kind of headlines, when we're fighting against this level of despondency and hopelessness? How do we approach that? I know you're not a politician or a psychologist, but you're having to do this every day.
I actually do like talking about the political aspects of things because it's almost intertwined with the politics of our past, how we got here. And I actually see a bright future for South Africa. And this is a transitionary phase that we're going through, not just in terms of decarbonization of our energy sector, but also in terms of what's next for South Africa. Because it's becoming apparent that our current situation isn't really working for us. So this is, in my mind, an accelerator where everyone gets to see this lack of service delivery. And everyone then starts making different decisions about what to do.
Well, it forces us all to become stakeholders. And I think the notion of ownership is going to be a big one. And this is, from what I've seen, when power was released to the people, which it has been, that was an opportunity for us to take ownership of that. We joke about, if you own that cable, ain't nobody going to steal it. And this is the bottom line. If it's our infrastructure, we own it, we protect it, we get the most out of it. So think about it from that perspective. Buddy, thank you so much for opening our eyes. He said a brighter future. He used those exact words. And we're going to hold on to that.
Also, we're going to hold on to that feel-good vibes of this morning as well. So stick around because this is going to get really interesting right now. The Prince of Afro, Sean, is joining us this morning on Expresso. So I think we should all give him a fantastically warm welcome because he's been sound-checking this morning and he's sounding amazing. Singer, songwriter, producer, and he's recently released his spectacular new single, Coming Up. Let's give him a feel-good welcome, Zanzi. Come on, Sean, in the building. My man.
Thank you so much for having me.
So good to have you. We've been listening to your sound checks. Oh, man, you bring the vibes, that's for sure. But it's wonderful to connect with you this morning, my friend. How are we feeling? Nice and early on a Monday.
I'm feeling great. It's Monday. Let's start the week off on an amazing note.
I like that. I like that. Check this man's smile as well. He's bringing it. For those people who's maybe seeing or hearing about you now for the first time, where do you hone from? Where do your kind of musical prowess? Where does
So I come from Rocklands, Mitchell's Plain. For me, music started at a very young age, you know. I think just as a child, going to karaoke's and family events, and then building on it from there. So at 6 already, I was singing and rapping. By 9, writing my own songs, and at 11, started making my own beats. And over the years, I've just been honing that skill, you know, and maneuvering my way through the industry. And I mean, here we are today.
Yeah, and here you are today on one of the biggest platforms out there. But again, you know, places like this obviously very much help because your view, how you see the music industry, is it a tough nut to crack in South Africa?
It definitely is a tough nut to crack. I mean, I've been doing this for more than 10 years, and I've only seen my break last year.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's been an inspiring and motivating journey. Even though I always felt like I haven't gotten where I've wanted to be, I've been thankful for the time I've spent in the industry because I was able to develop my sound, my vibe as an artist, and most importantly, the message, you know.
That's it, the message, very important. Now, let's talk about that message. You've got a brand new single coming up. It's coming up. That's called Coming Up. So you're going to perform it for us in just a second. What's behind this? If you talk about that message,
it's about coming up. So coming up is just highlighting that journey from the start to where it is right now. But it's not just about myself. You know, the song is for everyone out there that's working towards a specific goal or hustling towards their dreams. You know, and just as a reminder to tell them that the light is not at the end of the tunnel; it's within you.
Nice. You know, I love that little injection of positivity this morning. I love it. Sean, thank you very much. Stick around. He's got a whole of 3 performances. Here's the first of 3 with Coming Up. Take it away, my brother.
Thank you, my man.
I'm about to turn the heat up. It's getting hotter than a heater. More drip than a liter. My smoke louder than a speaker. Flip the script, I'm about to turn the heat up. It's getting hotter than a heater. More drip than a liter. My smoke louder than a speaker. They want me to kick back and relax. Like nah, forget that. Show me where the top is at, so I can put it on the map. Don't it feel good just to feel good? You know, I do it real good. Please, Southside, please stay strong. Long live Super Mega, live long, yeah. I gotta do it for the city. I'm kicking doors down, bringing everybody with me, spreading love. It's a message on myself. I'm not perfect if they didn't care before. I'm great right now, they gonna feel it, yeah. Cause I done came from a long way. I tried it all and I found my way. Be the hero of your story. Now be the hero of your story. They don't want more, they don't want more. But me, I'm coming up, me, I'm coming up. They don't want more, they don't want more. But me, I'm coming up, me, I'm coming up. Yeah, flip the script, I'm about to turn the heat up. It's getting hotter than a heater. More drip than a liter. My smoke louder than a speaker. Flip the script, I'm about to turn the heat up. It's getting hotter than a heater. More drip than a liter. My smoke louder than a speaker. Flip the script, I'm about to turn the heat up. It's getting hotter than a heater. More drip than a liter. My smoke louder than a speaker. Flip the script, I'm about to turn the heat up. It's getting hotter than a heater. More drip than a liter. My smoke louder than a speaker. I'm screaming more life. we know the peace sign. As long as God got us, then we gon' be alright. The world is yours, but you gotta play your part, gotta put in the work though. That's how we go so. Now congratulate me. Ay, 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 yo, 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 yo. They don't want more, they don't want more. But me, I'm coming up, me, I'm coming up. Ay, 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 yo, 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 yo. They don't want more, they don't want more. But me, I'm coming up, me, I'm coming up. I'ma flip the script, I'm about to turn the heat up. Oh, baby. It's getting hotter than a heater. Oh, baby. More drip than a liter. Oh, baby. Smoke louder than a speaker. Flip the script, I'm about to turn the heat up. Oh, baby. It's getting hotter than a heater. Oh, baby. Got more drip than a liter. Smoke louder than a speaker. Ay, yo, yo. 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 Ay, yo, yo.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, man. Vibes upon vibes upon vibes. I love it. Fresh sound, hotter than a heater, Roo, this
all
morning.
the way up.
I love it. Sean is here with us for the rest of the morning. Stick around. Another performance heading your way in just a bit. Nice, Roo.
Thanks.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, right here on S3, and a fresh Monday morning it is. Now today, we are joined by YouTube royalty, Tshwanelo Moyo, also known as 20 Skits, to chat about his recent video, which has the internet quite buzzing. Now, he took an Uber all the way from Johannesburg to Cape Town. How did he do it? How did he find a driver willing to do it? And how much did it cost? The man to answer all the questions. He's here with us today. Twanela, welcome, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
What on earth? I mean, breaking the record for the longest Uber ride, I mean, it's quite the accomplishment. Because normally we would just quickly bounce in an Uber to get us, you know, from here to there, from home to work quickly, but you decided to go all out. Why? And how did this decision come about?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I just wanted to do something very, very like crazy.
Yeah.
Something like not normal. You know, I just woke up one morning, I'm like, what could be the craziest thing that anyone has ever seen in the continent? I was like, what if I could take an Uber from Johannesburg to Cape Town? Because Cape Town is like more far from any place in Johannesburg.
Yeah, wow.
I was like, let me just do that. And I didn't even think about it too much. I just woke up with the idea. I was like, let's just do it. I called my friends. They were down, and we did it.
Okay, so talk me through this, because this was a journey of 1,409 kilometers. It's far. How on earth did you convince an Uber driver to do this trip?
I was actually shocked because the first request that we did was the Uber driver that we got was the one that actually like accepted. He didn't even hesitate. We told him
Really?
Yeah, we just went there, like, yo, we just want to go to Cape Town. It's like, nah, I've met people like you that has never done it before. I mean, people request and they change the destination. So he was like, you know what, let me just try and accept. And he accepted. He didn't even have a problem.
No problems?
No problem at all. Just
Wow.
jumped into it. He's like, I'm ready, let's go. If you guys are serious, as long as you're going to pay, but buy me food. I was like, of course.
Done. Yeah.
That's it.
Make a road trip. Look, I know that traveling through South Africa, it is beautiful. I've done the trip numerous times between Cape Town and Joburg. What was your favorite part of this journey? Because, I mean, obviously you were there content creating all the way.
There's just beauty. I love nature so much. Like seeing the roads and just the people. I mean, number plates started changing. Like we passed through Northern Cape, Free State, and the next thing, CA, you know. It was just the whole vibe. Just the whole vibe was amazing. Everything was just amazing.
But I love the fact and how you approach these things. I mean, waking up one morning and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you know what? Let's take an Uber to Cape Town. It's crazy, man. But on the journey, you struck it lucky with the token that you found in a chip packet.
Yep.
With 10,000 Rand.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. We stopped at Free State to like get a packet of chips. The next thing, we opened those chips, we're busy eating those chips. There are tokens inside, and the next thing it says you've won like 10,000.
Just like that?
Just like that. We dialed the number, it worked. We got the 10,000, we spent it here in Cape Town. That's how crazy it was.
My man, how lucky.
So we actually got the money back.
You got the money back. I mean, I think, okay, this is the whole thing. I think people are dying to know, because we know that, you know, Uber costs, it can get quite a lot here and there, but how much did this trip actually cost you?
So initially, when I did all the calculations, it was supposed to be around 13,000.
Okay.
But the Uber app stopped us before we got to Cape Town because we reached like the whole limit. It told us that
there's a limit.
Yeah, there's a limit.
Oh wow.
It says you've been driving for long.
There's a limit, guys.
Yeah, it said you've been driving for long. There's nothing we can do now. We're gonna just go offline. So when it cut, we didn't arrive in Cape Town yet.
Yeah.
So it cut and it told us it was around 8,300. So yeah, that was the.
Okay.
And the Uber app, yeah.
And what about the Uber driver now? I mean, he came all the way down. Does he have to find somebody here now to take?
Not even. So we came here, obviously got into a hotel because he couldn't go back the same day. He was already tired. The next day, he was just excited about going back alone for some reason that I don't even get to this point. Like, he was like, no, don't worry, I'm so happy. As long as I broke the record for myself as well. Everyone's happy, we're happy. So that's it.
No,
I didn't even have to pay him the remaining. He was just like, no, that's cool.
I love that. I love that. And listen, so you did this trip earlier in the year, around March. What was the reaction been since you've uploaded the video? Because it's only been recent that you uploaded it.
Yeah. It's been crazy. Like every news article, I mean, everyone just wrote about it. The internet just went crazy. Positive comments and also negative. But yeah, it's just been crazy. It's just been crazy.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
well, thank you very much. I mean, you are one of those royalties when it comes to content creation. Do you have another big one in mind of what you're going to be doing next?
Of course.
Oh, is it? But you're not going to say anything. We know this.
Yeah, not now.
Twanela, thank you very much, my man. Thank you for keeping us entertained. I mean, this is the thing. I've always said it, but I mean, we have such a high level of creativity, content creators in this country, and here's a perfect example. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you so
really
much.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Cape Town to Joburg. That's the next one. Let's go.
As you start trying to do the maths in your head, I think it's time for all of us to take a deep breath, fill up on some coffee, and hit pause.
It's time to hit pause with Jacobs.
First of all, that was just the most awesome thing ever.
That was so cool.
So cool.
That was so cool.
I'm here for that. But we do, after trying to chew on all of that and understand and do the maths, I think we do need to hit pause. And Ryle has very generously volunteered to make today's coffee. What have you got for us, young'un?
Yes, gents, perfect timing. I'm preparing something. I think this one's especially for you, G. It's a Lungo Intenso. And I'm going to come over there, serve it up to you, and explain to you what this is all about because, man, you're going to love this. Incoming.
Sana, all I saw there
Careful
was
now.
this beautiful crema. Oh, I love it.
Whoop. Oh, almost spilled there. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
my
I know,
nerves.
boy.
Because, guys, I'm so excited to introduce to you.
If you spilled that, we would have sent you home for the day, eh?
I know. And I would have deserved it too. Well, there you go, gents. Grab
thank you,
away and
sunshine.
enjoy. And let me talk to you about this. I'm so excited, especially for you, G. And you mind if I take a seat here? Because Lungo Intenso is awesome. It's something that you're going to love. Why? Because it's rich, it's hearty, it's got flavor. And for many of you that don't know, Lungo is like an espresso, but with a little bit more water, right? So Lungo means long in Italian. So it's perfect for those who prefer a long coffee. And this capsule has been especially developed for a larger cup of coffee. So you can sip on the glorious taste.
Cool.
Yeah, and enjoy the aroma for longer. And check this, the best part, right, is the Jacobs capsule range is compatible with Nespresso coffee machines. Yes, so that means you can have this taste all day long.
I know it's counterintuitive, but they should really start these from 8 at 1. So, because that's where it starts. I don't drop below 8.
No.
If there is a number below 8, I don't care. I'll normally go for like a 12. What I like about this is you get that intensity throughout.
Yeah.
So you get a longer, stronger coffee. So Lungo doesn't mean a less intense flavor. They get the flavor in there on a different level, but the fact that you can enjoy it for longer, that is a big thing for me.
And that's the misconception, because a lot of people think it's diluted, but it's definitely not. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. Obviously, coffee is so big, it's so important for many of us. It's like, it becomes like a ritual. I know you, G, you often before the day, you can't do it without your cuppa, right? So how do you drink your coffee throughout the day? Do you have like a special way of consuming it? It's got to be at this time specifically?
I think we all have our rituals when it comes to coffee. You know, there's the early morning coffee when you wake up. It's a very much kind of ritual based for me.
Yeah.
But in terms of the type of coffee, I like to stick to one kind of coffee, strong and black.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Well, we're ticking the box here. Yuji?
Yeah, because I think you kind of have a nutritional thing there with your coffee. It plays a role nutritionally, and it does. Like, I went through the bulletproof coffee phase, but that was just more of a way of introducing more coffee into my diet, pretty much. I will take it however it's brought to me. I'm like the least snobbish.
I like
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you to all the amazing people who have made me coffee so many times over this, this decade-long journey of coffee drinking. But I just love the fact that we are so spoiled for choice. Yeah. So I'm not a coffee snob. As long as I'm getting the caffeine, yes. But that intensity of flavor is vital for me. You must know when you're drinking coffee. I'm sorry. No sweetness.
There's some really interesting ways of drinking coffee. I mean, I've heard of people, and maybe this is a big thing, but maybe I'm only waking up to it now, to put a spoon of peanut butter.
Yeah, I'll put peanut butter in.
Peanut butter.
I'll put peanut butter in anything.
That could work,
in your
actually.
black coffee.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you can tell us what you do. That sounds crazy, but good at the same time. I like that.
Well.
Maybe you can bring some more ideas on how you enjoy your coffee, and whether you're into cappuccino, strong espressos, iced lattes, or the classic instant coffee. Let your Jacobs be your daily ritual that allows you to hit pause and savor the day. I mean, it's a perfect excuse to sit back and just
It's what we're doing now. Cheers to you at home.
Oh, that's good.
That's solid.
A world full of intense aromas and velvety smooth crema, protected by a premium aluminium capsule. Magical Jacobs aroma.
Watch Expresso this May as we highlight the importance of feminine hygiene, proudly brought to you by GynaGuard, who are also offering 10 Expresso viewers a chance to win their own hamper full of a comprehensive range of GynaGuard feminine hygiene products to the value of 1,000 Rand. Simply reply to the competition post on Expresso's Facebook, Instagram and Twitter pages using hashtag GynaGuard and hashtag #FreeToJustBe. That's this May from the 1st to the 31st right here on Expresso. T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties. Thank you so much for joining us for what will be an inspirational few minutes. The South African Parasurf Championships forms part of the newly launched Global Parasurf League. This is big. The first stop of the global tour had to be Muizenberg over this past weekend at the future Global Parasurfing League event. Destinations include the USA, Costa Rica, Spain, France, and Wales. Surfers are now waking up. And here to chat about the weekend's action, our event organizer and good friend of our show, Roxy Davis, who is a powerhouse in the space. Llewellyn Williams, winner of the Parasurf Neil Men's Division and current ISA Parasurfing World Champion, as well as Asanda Subisi, winner of the Men's Visually Impaired 2 Division. Welcome. I'm going to say congratulations to all three of you, because in the context of your lives, this is massive. So well done. Thank you so much for joining us. Rox, I mean, we've spoken to you so many times during various iterations of this. This feels big. This feels global. This feels like the platform that you guys deserve when you think about the transformations that are happening in the space. 62 athletes, 9 parasurfing divisions. You've got to be blown away by this weekend's turnout and the reaction.
Absolutely. When we first spoke about parasurfing in South Africa, we didn't begin to even dream about how big it could get. And it just grew. It's exploded, and now globally we have everybody on board. We're bringing communities together, and it's a showcase to the world of what we can do.
It's a cheat code. I absolutely love it, because there's all sorts of developmental angles to this, but it's an amazing sport. And I've got to ask you this, Llewellyn, because I know a lot of surfers. In fact, most of these guys here are surfers. Are you a surfer or are you a sportsman? Because I know there is an expectation around what you achieve within the sporting framework, but every surfer I know is just a surfer, man. How do you put these kinds of moments into perspective? Congratulations again. How do you feel after a weekend like this? And I know there was a lot of pressure, but you did it.
Yeah, it's amazing to come down here to Muizenberg the first time, and we've done the drive around to Llandudno and see the coast. And to have 62 athletes here compete in the first stop of the Parasurfing League is just mind-blowing. So, yeah, we move on from here now to the States, then Costa Rica and Wales, Spain, France. It's just a growing sport.
It's a dream, and it does matter. It really does matter. Asanda, when we talk about this mattering, the fact that you got to do this on South African water, on South African soil, how good does that feel?
To be honest, it's so amazing, because I've never dreamed of becoming a surfer. Wow. But I take surfing not just like a sport, maybe like a religion, something like that.
And now every surfer's out there like, yeah, for sure. When you say this has changed your life, I think it's one thing to say that. It's a different thing for people to actually understand how much this has changed your reality. What has surfing given you? I'm not just talking about the gold medal around your neck right now, but what has the sport done for you?
It has taught me a lot about life experiences sometimes, because sometimes you get those waves which are not kindly friendly. And then you just have to surrender for those waves, and then, yeah, but it taught me to be strong, never give up, and always push.
Always push. Just get back on the board. Even if you're just paddling, get back on the board. Roxy, what do you need now? We've reached an incredible level. We are global. There is an opportunity for so many surfers out there to take that next step up. What do we need to do to support this circuit and what you're doing?
Essentially, this event, the 2023 SA Champs, Tile Ice Solutions SA Champs in the Parasurf League, what we actually need is we need to bring communities together, we need to bring federations together, we need to bring athletes together, but not just para-athletes, all federations, and create this movement where people can see us. We're here, we're not going anywhere, we're growing, the sport is growing, And our South African national team will be selected based on this event, and they'll be eligible to go to the World Parasurfing Championships. We are essentially saying, South Africa, we are here. The Paralympics are in 2028. Surfing is shortlisted to be in the Paralympics in 2028. We did classifications, international classifications with all our athletes here, and these athletes hopefully will contribute to the bigger picture of getting parasurfing into the Olympics in 2028. So that is our vision and our goal and our dream, and that's where we want to get to. And that little Muizenberg sandy beach that we surfed on this morning or yesterday, it was just... we start there, and the dream is the Olympics.
And I know, as you say it, it's going to manifest. I know it because this is what's happened every time we have spoken to you. I've got to say kudos to all of you for doing what you're doing. It's moved from that labour of love space to being a massive circuit now that informs an entire ecosystem below it. Imagine what this means for young para-athletes when you hear words like para and Olympics mentioned and surfing mentioned in the same sentence. This is life-changing. So show some love, and if you took part over the weekend, congratulations. And if you're going to be heading out into those beautiful waters at Muizenberg Beach right now, savor every second. I think you know how special that little slice of water is. But to all of you, Roxy, well done, guys. Absolutely spectacular.
Thank you so much, Graham. Definitely so inspiring to start this Monday morning with. Right now, 8 o'clock, let's quickly get a last round of your news headlines. Starting off with your national news, the Gauteng MEC for Education, Matome Chilwane, has announced the opening date for online registration for next year's grades 1 and 8. It takes place from 15 June. Chilwane says the system has improved significantly compared to the previous year. The difference is that this year there is a single application process compared to last year's 2 phases. Meanwhile, the Western Cape Department of Education has appealed to parents to immediately submit their applications for admission to schools for the coming year. Applications close on Thursday. And Deputy President Paul Mashatile has held a dialogue with the business leaders, hosted by the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Now, during the meeting, captains of industry, CEOs, senior executives and business associations agreed to collaborate to rebuild businesses and investor confidence, and acknowledged that they could play a role in resolving some of the challenges SA is facing. Now, Mashatile said as a means of moving forward, engagement with the JSE-listed companies would be institutionalized for future engagement and as a platform to expedite the implementation of the commitments made. Making international news headlines this morning, a temporary ceasefire in Sudan has agreed on as fighting between the 2 warring factions entered its 6th week. Previous truce attempts between Sudan's regular army and the paramilitary rapid support forces have tended to collapse within minutes of being signed. But the new deal will be enforced by a ceasefire monitoring mechanism, said a US-Saudi statement. Fighting between the 2 sides has plunged the country into chaos since it began last month. More than 1 million people are thought to have been displaced. And leaders of the world's richest democracies have emphasized their support for Ukraine. The highlight thus far of the G7 summit in Hiroshima, Japan, was the visit of the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who called for greater support from Western countries against Russia's invasion. Now, the US President Joe Biden promised military aid of $375 million, which includes artillery and armored vehicles. Now, Biden also came out in support of training Ukrainian pilots on American-made F-16 fighter jets. Now, Biden said Zelensky assured him Ukraine would not use the jets to strike targets inside Russia. And we end up with this news. An exciting top soccer match last week between 2 Premier Division teams in La Cisterna, Chile, was just getting started, but it was suddenly interrupted by an unexpected visitor and had to be momentarily halted. Any guesses why? A streaker maybe, an intoxicated fan? Well, think again. It was none other than a playful brown dog which stormed onto the field, bringing the game to an abrupt stop. Now, the furry intruder actually managed to get hold of the ball and refuses to let go. A player then lifts the dog and carries it off the pitch, but the dog clings to the ball very tightly. Now, the player then hands the dog to a security guard who takes it off the field. And this, of course, has the crowd going absolutely wild with delight and cheers, hand clapping and laughter echoing all around. Now, the best part, as the dog is escorted off the field, he doesn't struggle at all. He just submits to being carried off and perhaps asking the question, where are we going? Am I going to get a treat? Hopefully I'm not going to the pound. But definitely a rather very interesting and very beautiful story to end off your news headlines this morning. That is it for it. Right now, let's take a look at your roads and your weather for the last time.
Thank you so much. Yes, and let's streak into the latest when it comes to our traffic this morning, and starting off in Bedford View, Johannesburg. Now, there has been a multi-vehicle accident on the N12 westbound before Giluli's interchange. Now, the right lane is currently closed, and again, please approach this area with caution because there's slow-moving traffic, so plan accordingly too when you go on your route. Carrying on with Johannesburg's traffic right now in the Centurion area, there is congestion on the N1 southbound. Now, this after Brakfontein interchange. Now, all lanes are affected, so do plan accordingly if you are heading through this route. Now, moving from Johannesburg to Cape Town and in Nyanga, to be specific, there's been an accident on the N2 inbound, and this after Borchard's Quarry. Now, there are now heavy delays in and around the area, so please approach this area with caution and allow for more travel time if you are making your way through this route. And carrying on with Cape Town, Blackheath specifically, there's been an accident on the R300, and this northbound after the Stellenbosch arterial. Now, all lanes are currently open, but again, please do approach carefully. And for anybody heading out on the roads this morning, buckle up, stay safe, and plan accordingly. It's time to head now from the roads to the sky and see what's happening in the latest when it comes to weather. Reporting on weather news this morning, Environmental News has it that the city of Tshwane has urged communities in Hammanskraal, north of Pretoria, and in surrounding areas not to drink tap water following a cholera outbreak in the region that has already claimed at least 10 lives. Now, the Gauteng MEC for Health, Nomantu Nkomo Ralehoko, says 95 people have thus been treated at Jubilee District Hospital for symptoms of diarrhea, stomach cramps, and nausea, and about 40 were admitted to hospital. Now, the City of Tshwane spokesperson Salbi Bokaba says the city was providing drinkable water by means of water tankers at informal settlements 3 times a week. Now, she also added that water trucks were being sent to formal areas daily to ensure that communities drank water safe for consumption. Now, Bokaba added that some of the cases reported were from the Moretele area, which is not supplied by the city of Tshwane. Well, from our weather news, we head over to Sunrise Views in our last edition for this morning. And starting it up, we've got Brian Super, who headed out to the beach, and this was to enjoy a stroll on the soft sand, enjoying Table Mountain views, a picturesque, iconic view. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for this one. Next up, we've got Shanice in Obecha, who shared this photo before heading to work. And we've got palm trees swaying in the wind and a gorgeous you in the distance. Wow, beautiful moment just before the day brings its promise. Next up, we've got Louise in Johannesburg, and this one is of her being a passenger, snapping a view whilst heading back to a hotel. And wow, thanks for sharing this one. I absolutely loved it. Delesh is up next in East London and shared another picture-perfect shot. Look at this. Reflections in the dam, and feels like a well-deserved holiday. If you got a little bit of this the weekend, then you won. Yes, you won. And officially again, thank you so much, Mzansi, for sending all these incredible pictures through. We'll start it all up again in the morning at 063-408-8863. For now, though, let's take our last look at the temperatures across the country. Starting off in Polokwane, the day starts at a low of 8 up to a high of 22. Umabela sees the day starting at 11 up to 21. Pretoria 8 is Yolo up to a high of 22. And Johannesburg 6 to start the day up to a moderate 20 degrees Celsius. Over in Mahikeng, bringing the chill to start the day from 6 degrees all up to 23. Klerksdorp, very similar conditions from 5 degrees to start the day. You move up to a moderate 21. Kimberley, similar conditions from 7 up to 19. And Bloemfontein, even chillier, 2 degrees to start the day, moving up to only 18 degrees Celsius. Carrying over to the coast now and over to Richards Bay. Specifically, there's a rain in your side of town. From 11, you go up to 20 degrees for the day. Pietermaritzburg, not as much rainfall, 6 up to 17. Durban, similar conditions from 13 up to 21. And Mthatha, 5 is your low, up to a high of 17 degrees Celsius. Carrying on around the coast now and over to East London. The day starting at a low of 10 up to a high of 18 degrees. Craddock sees a chilly start of 3 up to 15. GQ Berga sees the day starting at 10 up to 18. And George, 11 is your low, up to a high of only 18 degrees Celsius. Carrying on around the mother city, around the coast, the moderate conditions continue from 13. Cape Town goes up to a high of 19 degrees. Worcester sees the day starting at 9 up to 21. Sutherland, 4 degrees to start the day, very chilly, only up to a moderate 15. And Uppington, last but not least, 10 up to a nice warm 25 degrees Celsius. Again, Mzansi, thank you for sending those incredible pictures in. And we're going to keep it incredible right now and pull out a little bit of the incredible out my sleeve and pay attention to this.
Pay attention to this indeed. Now, we want to take a very quick moment.
Okay.
For those who don't know.
Yeah.
that it is your birthday.
Oh,
my friend. We've got to take the moment. Happy birthday to Graham, my brother. What an absolute honor for me to be here this morning. Ooh, there's a jingle, everything.
I'm so glad you are here.
Oh, man, dude, it's so special to be able to celebrate your birthday with you after all of these years and, you know, going everywhere else, and now we're back here. Oh, it's just wonderful, man.
Because we've grown up together on the show. We've had kids.
Grown up together. We're kids.
We're trying to adult now. I was laughing with my sister about this yesterday. I'm married now. She's got kids. We are adulting. We are actually doing it.
In between.
Oh, buddy.
But listen, buddy, happy birthday to you, my
Thank you,
friend.
my boy.
And you are one of the most incredible, humble, sincere people I know. Yeah. And you're so good at what you do as well. Let's just put it out there. You are so good, and it's an honor for me to work with you. But we do have something very special for you as well. Take a look at this.
Oh, get out. No ways.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daddy. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Jack the Ripper.
Oh, man. That is the sweetest thing. Your two little ones, man.
You don't understand. That's my context right there. That is it. It begins and ends with my gorgeous wife and those two kids. That's my ecosystem.
No, and you have such a beautiful family, and you can see how much you are loved, and I can see it in your eyes, my friend. Stop it. Listen, we do have a little quick voice note for you as well.
Happy birthday to my king. You're absolutely amazing. You're going to have a wonderful day. And just know how much I absolutely love you. You have no idea how much I love you. You are a rock in this family. I don't know what I would do without you. Your kids love you. Have an amazing day, my babe, and I can't wait to see you soon.
Oh,
love you.
I love you, girl. I love you so much. Oh, man.
Round of applause for Graham, my friend. Happy birthday to you from all of us. You know what, may you just go from strength to strength, because you are just one of those driving forces. You're an inspiration to myself as well. You mean a lot, and really, it's an honor to work with you. And I know Ryle feels the same as well. He's standing there. I think, bring it in. Bring it in.
My love antenna.
Man, you're like my big bro, everything in one, dude. Thank you so much for being the OG that you are, truly. I think your kids just summed it up perfectly. You are like this bundle of this weird, chaotic combination of love, compassion, care, and everything else, and you make the show so complete, dude. Thank you for being a part of us and constantly serving Mzansi, even on your birthday, man.
Buddy, do you know what it's like to find a place in the world where you just fit? To be surrounded by the people that I am every day, to be able to speak to the viewers that we do every day. We joke about that gratitude that we feel when we drive into work every morning. It's not lost on me how privileged I am to be in this space. For someone as weird and crazy and extreme as me, to find my family around me, and this really is what that is. I draw so much strength from you, especially over these last 2-3 years. I would not be standing where not for this amazing Expresso family. So thank you so much. I love you guys beyond measure.
Happy
Here's to the coffee magicians. The ones who know what you get out starts with what you put in.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Good morning and welcome back again to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso right here on S3. Now this morning, story that's been all over the news. We're joined on the couch by criminal law experts William Booth and Fallon Taff for a recap on the case of rapist and murderer Thabo Bester and his co-accused, including Dr. Nandipa Magudumana, which has been postponed to the 20th of June now. Now, Bester, Magudumana and others implicated face charges, including fraud and corruption, violating a corpse, harbouring and concealing an escaped offender, and defeating the ends of justice. William, thank you very much. Fallon, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
I hope you're going to help us put this into context a little bit.
Going on. Yeah, I was just thinking about what episode are we in this crazy saga that's been happening. But of course, we've got the experts here. You guys can possibly fill us in on where we're at. And just recently, I see G4S, which was the security firm that was involved in all of this, has just appeared in front of Parliament, right? What's happened since then? Did anything get executed? Was any decisions made after this, or is it kind of just still in this information gathering period? Where are we at with this?
Well, good morning, everybody, and good to be back. The next episode of Thabo Bester.
Yeah.
So a lot has been happening since we last chatted. The parliamentary inquiry, that's still pending. Various officials from G4S, the security company that was engaged at this prison, have been pretty much grilled in Parliament. The DA... Shadow Minister of Justice, Ms. Breitenbach, I think gave them a good rundown and a good run for their money. So that's the one aspect that we're still waiting to hear about. There's a bail application on the go for the G4S accused in this matter. Bester, obviously, although there was a hint that he was going to apply for bail, I don't think ever can apply for bail, and I doubt if he's ever going to be released because, you know, we know he's serving life imprisonment, and with his escape, I mean, that adds to any parole or release date going into the future. Magudumana has now thought of launching an application in the High Court in Bloemfontein with regard to her arrest and deportation from Tanzania to South Africa. So we're not quite sure exactly what she is alleging, but she hasn't brought a bail application. My view is that she should actually have dealt with all of this during the bail application. So the G4S bail application is pretty much towards the end. I think tomorrow they're going to hear. There's been legal argument. So that in a quick nutshell is where we are with all of these issues.
Yeah, but this is where we're at. I mean, there's so many different elements to this, and so many different players involved as well. And what is the deal with Bester swapping out lawyers in the case? I mean, what is happening on that front?
Well, all we know is that the previous attorneys literally just withdrew. And I think Mr. Booth will agree with me. There's a fine line between an accused actually terminating a mandate and the attorney actually deciding to voluntarily withdraw.
Oh, wow.
So that's what has been put out in the media, is that they withdrew from the matter. But it's nothing unseen. It happens on a regular basis. Attorneys come on record, withdraws from record. Accused literally goes from sometimes in one matter through 3-4 attorneys.
Oh, wow. So there's not necessarily something we need to really dive deep into.
No, it's a common, it's something that's, it's common. It's common.
One thing I didn't know, and one thing that I didn't know was even common, and I'm assuming this is obviously the world we live in now, but I'm seeing the opportunity for virtual versus physical appearances in court, right? And seeing that the latest appearance was actually via a Zoom call. What world have I been living in where this is now an option? I didn't know there was, I could just turn home, I didn't waste my petrol. Is that now a normal thing? And why would he even opt for this option in the first place? I mean, what's going on here?
Well, in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, if there's a postponement of somebody who's in custody, that can be dealt with virtually. But since COVID, we've even moved on even further than that some court applications are dealt with virtually. You know, where legal argument can be presented. It's very difficult running a trial, particularly a criminal trial, virtually. You know, how do you cross-examine somebody? So you ask somebody a question, he says, hang on a moment, runs around the desk, goes under and gets out his notes, comes back and answers. But the virtual hearing does regularly happen. It's also to avoid bringing prisoners from court to court and back again. That becomes a bit of a practical issue.
And I think in this case particularly, his 450 K's away from Bloemfontein Court where he needs
So
to be.
logistically,
So logistically, because I mean, if you're going to go for a 10-minute, 15 minutes postponement, why all the effort of actually transporting? And obviously, because we're dealing with a high-profile matter here, the security is inclined with that. Means they've got to have more things in place to actually commute and transport that person there. So that is also some of the factors considered.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, there's so much still to talk about. I want to chat about the fact that people got a lot of questions going with regards to the full face of makeup that Magdamano is wearing and an expensive hoodie by Bester. What's the deal? We're going to come back to that in just a little bit with our experts. Stick around for that.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, plenty of gristle, as I like to say, to chew on. With regards to that conversation, let's take a financial turn, and I'm going to ask you to hold up a mirror right now and look at your own financial journey. When it comes to grocery or retail stores, I think we have the liberty of shopping around daily to find the best value, and we become comfortable with that exchange. But when it comes to banks, network providers, medical aids, even insurances, these are typically harder to switch. So I'm going to pose a very important question and ask the gents to sit down as I do this. And we're going to pose, as we love to do in our Money Matters, a conundrum, and I want you guys to think about this critically. So here is my question to all of you guys and our little panel here as well. Is it really that hard to switch in the current climate where I think all of us are faced with increased costs of living? We've really done a deep dive in that space. Now really is the time to evaluate all of our financial relationships and seek out the options and the partners that really actually do provide us with real value. So for our Money Matters chat today, I am asking this: what would it take for you to switch, gents? And I'm going to kind of frame it like this. My first question is about banks, okay? Did you choose your bank? You and maybe you followed the path of Gad. Was this just a natural progression because you knew about the bank? Or did you go out there, shop around and choose your banking partner for life?
Yeah, I think of the way that I was set up, obviously it comes down still from my parents, you know, back in the day, opening up the accounts and that kind of thing. So you kind of grow with the bank that you are. But I mean, later in life, you start asking your own questions. You start to look at things like, you know, the cost for accounts, rates, all these kind of things. And then you start really shopping around. But it does bring the question is like, you are set in your ways. Now, thinking about switching banks, even though you know that it might be better, you know, what is stopping you then from switching? Because it just seems like such a big task.
I suppose it's admin. People are terrified of admin, but it doesn't necessarily have to be.
You don't actually have an idea, and I was the same as you, and I also was like I had a bank account that was kind of like bestowed upon me. It's like, here's a greater way to like learn about life. And then you kind of build up loyalty towards that. Only later on did I realize like, it's not actually that hard to switch, especially when you're looking at some of the options that are available to you and you get educated. The product. That's when that decision becomes pertinent.
Does it start with knowing what your bank fees are? Do you actually, both of you, know what your monthly fees are?
Well, you look through those charges statements.
Or do you live in denial and just
I think in those months when you don't make money, you're forced to look like, where's my money? And then you realize, hey, what is this going off every month? What is this debit? What is this? You start to realize one way or the other, you're forced to find out what's happening with your money, where you're spending it. And sometimes these hidden costs you're not even aware of, and you're forced to educate yourself on your bank. That's when it becomes real.
So that being said, what would it take for you to switch? What's the pressure point for you, do you think? When is too much too much?
Oh, goodness, you know what? When it really comes to, ultimately, you're looking for a bank, or what I'm looking for, you know, as a bank where you get really good, you know, fees, transactional fees, those kind of things, or no transactional fees in certain accounts, and also the rewards that a bank can offer as well. I mean, those are all kind of factors that play into it, because at the end of the day, this is your hard-earned money, and you want to see it somehow also work for you a little bit.
I think for me, I found a bank, and luckily it was Nedbank, where it wasn't a system, because I was too young to get a check account. And I was like, I need this, guys. I've got a career. I've got this. And they were like, no, but you're too young, dude. You've got no track record. System. At Nedbank, I found a person who weighed up my situation, gave me advice on the best way to do it. And just that investment on their part has led to a lifelong journey with them. And I've held them to that as well. You can talk to your bank about charges. You can talk to them about the products.
Makes you feel like they care about you.
Yeah,
Nice,
and they
like
should, because you're their market. It's a two-way flow here, and you need to accept that with your bank, they need you as much as you need them. So don't get complacent. There is always better value to be found, but you've got to go looking, and then you can find the potential to save that we keep talking about. So you have to shop around, go and ask those questions, and if you're looking for a bank that offers you transparent fees, fees and real value and some fantastic rewards, then consider switching to Nedbank and ask those questions. You can speak with an actual person, one of their expert consultants today, and I suggest your jumping off point, go and find nedbank.co.za, take a look at the products and just start asking questions.
You must be wondering how I got here, man. Enjoying Bomadi sushi, got the fork and knife over bubbles of sparkling water. But I didn't know the changes, Joe, because I chose Nedbank, the bank that gives you discount upon discount in this country. I'll call it a bank with benefits, eh? Yeah. Value guaranteed. Seriously? Seriously.
Join the bank that's best for your loan. Choose up to 200 Rand cashback monthly with a personal loan. Apply for a personal loan and a savvy account today. Nedbank, see money differently.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, yes, Mzansi, welcome back. Your feel-good breakfast show is here and the saga continues. Yes, we are continuing the conversation around the biggest criminal case in South Africa at the moment, and that's of the rapist and murderer Thabo Bester and his co-accused, including Dr. Nandipa Magudumana. Now, we've got the specialist here. We are having a great conversation. Just find out what's going on, and we're going to carry on with that right now.
Exactly. William, thank you very much. Fallon, thank you very much again for joining us this morning. So just earlier on, we unpacked the appearance via Zoom as opposed to in person in the court, but what I think got a lot of questions from the public and that we saw in the news headlines when Magudumane appeared on Zoom. She was beautifully made up, makeup, Bester wore a very expensive hoodie. What's your take on this? Is this out of the ordinary? Is this normal?
Absolutely normal.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I caught you off guard with that, I suppose.
Yeah, because I mean,
but yes.
everyone was asking the questions that I've seen, you know, via the social media. It's like, but how? Why?
Nothing extraordinary there. It's a common phenomenon. You see it daily happening. People coming into court, and literally when they go back to prison, you can expect to see somebody entirely transitioned appearing the next day, particularly with females, I suppose. I've literally, from experience, seen ladies appearing in court. You're like, whoa, okay, where did you come from? And the next moment, they get transported to Paulsmoor, to the prison, which got obviously female sections, and they come back. The makeup is there. What we need to remember is there are only trial awaiting at this stage. So they have all this programs going on in prisons allowing people to do hair, to do makeup, because obviously they're skilling people within prison to do something once they are outside. So nothing really extraordinary. You'll really see accused people appearing in court, having their hair done, having their makeup done. I was surprised to see the nails though, because clearly that's something new there.
Yeah.
But yes, the hoodie, that's something different. I mean, really, it's not the price tag that counts. The thing is that every time a person goes to court, you are entitled to put on your clothes of choice. So, I mean, he chose to wear the most expensive one there.
It's so weird to me when you're potentially trying to garner like public affection or get people on your side. That's not really the best statement to put
That you
out.
want
I
to
don't know,
make,
but
yes.
each to their own, I guess.
Yeah.
What really baffles my mind, and I mean, there's so many questions in the saga. I want to find out about this corpse, right? Now, firstly, has it been ascertained as to where this corpse was actually sourced? Do we know exactly what's happening in the saga? Is there any new information on that? Because that was crazy for me, to say the least. Like, where did this body come from? Whose body is it? There were so many questions. William, do you have anything about that?
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's this elaborate scheme that was set up involving all these security officials, and obviously Bester, Magadamana, her father, you know, transporting back and forth. The CCTV was cut so that you couldn't see who was coming in, who was going out. So it was this huge planned operation. So the information we have is that the body was brought from mortuary, brought into the prison, sneaked in, with the help, obviously, of these various security officials. And then that is the person who was, let's say, set alight. Well, the body was set alight. So the whole fire was also an elaborate scheme to throw kind of attention away from Bester, and then, no, it's Bester that died in the fire. So they have established who the person is, and I think they've interviewed the mother and the family, and obviously they're extremely, extremely traumatized. Initially, all the accused in this case were charged with murder. That charge has been withdrawn. So you've got various charges of escaping, you know, corruption, and assisting with the escape, you know, beforehand, during, after, etc. So defeating the ends of justice. So those are the kind of charges that are pending. But
we can at least confirm that that body wasn't killed for that purpose.
No,
right?
that charge is
good stuff.
Is withdrawn. But, you know, getting a body in, setting a light to cell. I mean, really, this is quite unheard of. I think worldwide. You know, you've seen some elaborate escape schemes.
But this takes it to a different level.
It takes the cake, as they say.
It does.
Just to wrap up this morning, I just want to quickly touch on this. The case is now postponed till the 20th of June for further investigations. But we want to know is, this is also the same month, June, when Thomas Bester, advocate Pela, is expected to go on trial for corruption. Yes, what exactly is going on there? Because, I mean, this can't look good. I mean, yeah, he's defending, you know, Bester, but yet he's going on his own trial for corruption.
It doesn't look good.
No. Definitely doesn't look good, I agree.
No, absolutely. But don't forget, he hasn't been convicted of anything.
But still, just the fact, I think, having to also now go through this process.
So if you link this to another matter where a lawyer by the name of Mr. Tefu has popped up, he's actually been disbarred. So he's not allowed to go to court. So, you know, that's and he did arrive at court the other day and he was escorted out of court. But in this instance, he had, you know, this lawyer has not been convicted of anything. And it's, I think, a choice that he must make. And, you know, Bester, who's instructing him, must make, does he want a lawyer who has a matter pending? But again, he's, you know, regarded as being innocent. There's been no, as far as I'm aware, disciplinary application brought to disbar him. So, yes, he can technically still carry on defending Bester until, let's say, he is disbarred. He may not be disbarred.
I think it's just confusing, shifting that focus.
No, absolutely. And the public, you know, needs to know, well, why would he be still appearing? So technically, yes, he can appear. Whether it's the right thing from his perspective or from Bester, that's another question. But, you know, his case hasn't been completed and you know, he must be regarded as being innocent in terms of our law.
Well, Fallon and William, thank you again so much for coming through, for shedding more light on the saga, and it does continue. We will hopefully get them in here again and find out what else is going on as this unfolds. And for now, though, it's time to unfold a little bit of magic with one of our performers right now. Enjoy.
Yep, this conviction is in, It's been proven. He is unofficially the Prince of Afro. I'm talking about singer, songwriter, and producer, and now good friend of the show, Sean. Thank you so much for the early start, my friend. I gotta ask, Afro is all about the groove, my friend, and we can see that you sit in this lane beautifully. Is this organic? Or do you know, is there a formula? How do you know when you've got the groove right?
I think it's a mixture of both, having the groove and the formula as well. But for me, I think it's all about blending my learnings from each genre and then bringing it to Afrobeat to make it essentially our own and to always add that Mzansi flavor and spirit to it, you know.
How important is it, because you're a producer as well, to have a view of that whole kind of picture before, during, and after? How much does that change the end product?
It plays and makes a major shift in everything, because I always say I'm fortunate in that sense to have control from the back end right to the front. So I'm able to craft and just change the design of the beat itself to fit that rhythm and that groove, because I can already hear it before it's even made. So I have that type of advantage when I do produce or a new track or record.
And it just manifests.
And just bring it together.
I love it, and it's going to come together beautifully. Prepare the little Don-like two-step shuffle for this one, baby. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Performing another banger, it's Slippery from Sean. Enjoy, my brother.
You already know. Baby, you're the one that I am after. We will look good in a portrait. Baby, you're the one that I am after. We will look good in a portrait. Me and Charlie flowing just like water. Even though it's slippery, I still caught her. Me and Charlie flowing just like water. Even though it's slippery, I still caught her. No more solo. I'm finally looking forward to tomorrows. I found the perfect partner for my photos. I wanna feed you chips and burritos and some nachos, then take you out there. Where you wanna go? I'll go anywhere, as long as you are there. You are there. Our love, it won't be slippery, slippery, slippery. Our love, it won't be slippery, slippery, slippery. Our love, it won't be slippery. The only sliding I'ma do, baby girl, is in your DMs. I wanna make love to you, baby, from the AM to the PM. You're my chargy, you're my body, you're my wifey, you're my thing, yeah. You're the baddest, got me feeling like the baddest. She's not average, yeah. Now come put all that sexy on top of me. You know that I always wanna live physically, spiritually, mentally, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Our love, it won't be slippery, slippery, slippery. Our love, it won't be slippery, slippery, slippery. Our love, it won't be slippery. I said it won't be slippery. Said it won't be slippery. Yeah, 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 yeah. Our love, it won't be slippery. Said it won't be slippery. Said it won't be slippery. Yeah, 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 yeah. Our love, it won't be slippery. Our love, it won't be slippery.
Yep, you. We love it! My brother, absolutely beautiful. Yes, I know it's a Monday. It doesn't stop you. You can still get up and groove. Sean ain't going nowhere. One more performance coming your way. Go and show him some love online. Oh, buddy, you got the groove. We'll see you in a moment. Woo! Thank you.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. What a Monday morning so far. It's wonderful to be in your company. Now, continuing a bit of a discussion we had earlier on, everyone has been talking about the trial of infamous sexual offender and murderer Thabo Bester and his partner, Dr. Nandipa Magudumana. Now, what has tweeps and people of the digital world talking more than the trial is the attire of both parties at their court appearances. Now, this morning, we unpack a bit of what people have been saying online.
Yeah, now get this. So Thabo Bester and, of course, Dr. Nandipa Magudumana has been wearing, well, they've been seen dripping in tracksuits from luxury brands. Now, more recently, Thabo Bester appeared on his virtual court appearance on the 16th of May in, get this, a Burberry hoodie that values at around 19,000 Rand or more. Yeah, and a fresh haircut to go with that too. Now, a lot of citizens also noticed that Dr. Nandipa had a full face beat too. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And we heard from the experts, I mean, there's nothing out of the ordinary, though. But I mean, the question asked is like, but what is the message that you want to send, you know, appearing, you know, in this attire that's thousands and thousands of rands? Now, Tanda Tabere spoke on her radio show to a member at the Department of Correctional Services who mentions that there is a salon in the women's facilities that they can make use of. And it begs us to ask the question whether they are receiving special privileges or treatment in prison during this trial.
Yeah, now something I didn't realize, and that was something that was very insightful, was when we were talking to both advocates earlier, was that there are these programs in place. And
which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So maybe that assumption there we shouldn't really dive too deep into, but I don't know. It's still up to you. But tweeps have been asking why they're not wearing the orange overalls that we see others wearing, right? Now, this is a very valid question indeed.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to some of your comments out there, some of the people that's been tweeting out there. Here we have one that says, it really must be NOS, being those two, eh? Like, what special treatment is this? One appearing in court virtually and the other a fresh haircut and a Burberry hoodie. I mean, these two really just disgust me. So that's the general feeling out there. That's just one of the comments.
One of many. Now, there's another one saying, wasn't Thabo Bester convicted? Isn't he supposed to be in orange instead of a Burberry hoodie? Like many other people were wondering. I think it is a question. How is he able to do this when you often see a lot of inmates or potential inmates or people that haven't been convicted wearing something completely different? And I think the case is just this, and this is what we want to ask you about, right?
Exactly. We have another one says, Thabo Bester, you know, I'm big Burberry hoodie makes those warders look like his bodyguards.
Yeah,
you know, well, that's pretty much, and this just comes back to, you know, what we're saying is like, what is the kind of image that he wants to put out there? Why is he choosing?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know?
Innocent man, I don't know. Well, another tweet was confused as to why he wasn't wearing the orange overalls and was replied to by another Twitter user. Now, this is interesting. It says he's still trialing. Once he gets sentenced, he'll wear the orange. Yes, that is correct. He is not guilty yet. He still needs to be proven guilty. Just like the court in our case, you're always innocent until proven guilty.
Exactly, and that's exactly what our experts conveyed a little bit earlier on as well, so they're not, and then a comedian who gained notoriety with her videos online. We know her, we love her, Coconut Kells. She went viral for her Dr. Nandipa Bell makeup tutorial. Here's a quick teaser.
Hi guys, get ready with me, Bell Edition. As you can see, my hair's already in the style. The reason why I tie it to the side like this, first of all, it's kind of like giving innocence, but it's also because, you know, if you get into a scrap, I make sure that the opponent's always on this side so that they have nothing to grab onto. The pony's always on this side. But yeah, so I'm gonna get started. These are for my edges. ENCA, they're right up close. It's quite invasive. So I just wanna make sure that, you know, they get my good side. So I'm gonna swoop down with the edges, lay my edges like the law. You're so beautiful. What is your roommate?
Oh, well played.
Yes.
Ah, well played.
You gotta love Coconut Kells, man. Oh, this is
Coming
so funny.
through with the goods. Well, look, this song has really got us talking. We've got professionals in here. We're weighing in on your tweets as well. But of course, we want you to come through and let us know. What do you think? Do they deserve special treatment? Are they getting it? Or is this just the norm? Keep coming through. Use our socials. The number is 063-408-8863 because we'd love to hear from you.
Now, that might sound like a movie and not the best kind, and I think anyone who's stuck in this narrative that we're going to delve into right now definitely feels like they've been given some kind of sentence. They say nothing is permanent, but when it comes to chronic pain, it could be there to stay and it feels endless. Well, ActiPatch gave one lucky viewer the chance of winning 5,000 Rand to assist in making those painful days a distant memory by telling us if you suffer from chronic pain and how you manage it. Well, today we are very happy, especially I am really happy to announce our next very worthy winner. Can I get a massive congratulations and beautiful drum roll for Safina Martin? And she had this to say, and I love this, I can relate. Oh yes, indeed. I suffer from severe joint and muscle pain. The nerve below my shoulder blade irritates my muscles, which often leads to a compressed nerve. This results in severe migraines and pain along the left side of my body. All these symptoms are interconnected, causing extreme pain and discomfort as the pain radiates down my left arm. I know this feeling, girl, all too well. Hashtag ActiPatch. We've got Sophia on the line right now. A very good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Well, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for connecting, and thank you so much for hitting the nail on the head. I think we have been on a similar pain management journey, and I know how tough it is. But this being said, 5 grand's worth of aid is on its way. How does it feel to be a winner with ActiPatch this morning?
Oh, my word. Amazing, amazing for a Monday morning.
Exactly, and it's an everyday kind of a pain, listening to the way that you talk about it. Now, for me, it gets real when I've got to put my shoes on in the morning and, yes, compress that nerve. Does this slow you down? Talk about the impact that your chronic pain has on your life.
Sure, so it definitely does. I mean, I'm a mom of 3 kids firstly. I'm working full-time from home, so I'm on my PC the entire day. And there's days where the migraines, because the pain in the arm causes such terrible migraines, you can't even work properly. So the past few months have been really, really painful.
I can relate. I had a backup a couple of years ago, and it was more the connection between the nerves, the muscle tissues, the joints. That's where the battle really gets waged. That being said, you have got someone in your corner now. 5,000 Rand is headed to you. How are you going to use this to help yourself? What do you think the answer is for you?
Sure, so definitely, I actually been going to the chiropractor, which has actually run out quite a bit on my medical savings account on medical aid. I do need quite a bit of more acupuncture treatment on that nerve that irritates the shoulder muscle as well. So definitely going to spend it on trying to assist me with pain management.
And I think we undersell it when we just say pain management, because it's difficult for people to grasp the concept that you're always in pain and you're just 100%. Elevating yourself above it to be able to act like a normal person. I get you, girl. I see you from my own very lived experience. Keep seeing the bigger picture. You're doing exactly what you need to, looking at that overall system of health, and don't give up. Eat that pain, girl. Eat that pain and push through it, because help is at hand. But congratulations, 5 grand on its way to you. Well done.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. Really, really appreciate it. Awesome news for a Monday.
Oh, likewise, and makes us equally as excited to be able to give that away this morning. So as a reliable companion in this crazy journey of managing chronic pain, ActiPatch has got you covered.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, yes, Mzansi, welcome back. Your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And let me tell you, we're going to make it feel even better right now. Joining us is a Prince of Afro, a singer, songwriter, and producer. We're talking about Sean in the building. Now, man, you've been doing so many incredible things this morning, lighting us up. I can't not move when your songs play, bro. I want to talk about something which I thought is incredible, dude. Your debut project, Thankful, right? You had that hit song, Give It, which blew up. Dude, I believe this thing was #1 for 5 weeks, right?
It was number 1 for 5 weeks in a row. And the crazy thing about that was, so prior to that, I've been making music for more than 10 years. And it felt like I was getting nowhere. And then I was like, God, please give me a sign. And then boom, song goes #1. 5 weeks in a row, I was like, I hear you, I listen.
That's a sign, eh? Man.
You know?
So obviously someone's looking out for you and obviously encouraging you to use your gifts that you're sharing with the people. With everything that's already happened and with some of these prayers being answered, what else are you praying for and what else is happening in 2023? What can we look forward to, bro?
So what's coming soon is definitely the release of my music video coming up. I can't wait to share that with everyone else. And a whole lot of new music as well on the way too.
Okay, well, this is your year, man. Sean is here to give it to us right now. So let's do exactly that, bro. Take it away. Stage is yours.
Thank you, my man.
I can highly recommend it, and my vibe is always trended. Good energy invested, ain't this what you requested? Tell me what is your agenda, yeah. Girl, you know I'm no pretender, yeah. I'm the realest and I'm here, girl. I should have put up a show, girl, yeah. Good times, loving hot like the summer. Easter effort for me, all the lingerie designer. She walked into my waist, riding it on like a model. Said she wanna be the best I ever had, and I'm honored. Girl, you a vibe, you a whole 10 out of 9. Come and be mine, we ain't got forever, but I'm gonna take my time, so get on me, get on me. What we do is love it, you yummy, I'm munching, you know that. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. Call me papi, do those nice things. I feel lucky, way you buy me, keep you low key, but not private. They know but they don't, we ballin'. Keeping it real with myself and with you, taking things so it's something I cannot do. We ballin', baby girl colder than winter. You a hold me like wanna have you for dinner. Y'all can keep the snacks off on me, I'm in you. Though the world is your stage and my heart you're in you. Girl, you a vibe, you a whole 10 out of 9. Come and be mine, we ain't got forever, but I'm gonna take my time, so get on me, get on me. What we do is lovely, you yummy, I'm munching, you know that. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. Get on me, get on me. What we do is lovely, you yummy, I'm munching, you know that. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through. I'ma give it to you so good. I'ma give you like you walk me through.
Oh, man. It's so good.
That was the groove we needed for a moment. We've beaten back the Monday Blues today.
For sure.
We
For sure.
Sean, take a bow, my friend.
No.
Absolute legend. Thank you for bringing that groove into our Monday morning.
It's got such a like a groove.
Oh,
very, very cool. I love it. Some energy from our performance this morning. Listen, thank you very much for you guys for tuning in, for spending this 3 hours with us. It's always wonderful to start a week on a good note like this.
Yeah,
now
it's
it's set the
so
tone
good.
for the rest of the week. And dude, happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to Graham!
Thank you to this amazing crew. I love you guys beyond measure. To my beautiful kids and my beautiful wife who got up crack of dawn this morning to send me such a gorgeous video. I love you guys more than anything else in existence. But to this broader family, to all of the viewers, everyone who stopped me in the streets over the last couple of days, thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot tell you what a privilege it is to hold this position. So guys, we're going to make it a birthday month now.
Yeah.
The rest of this week, in fact, we are going to be partying hardy. Because that's what we do, baby. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Don't forget, I'll catch you. Love ya. We love you, show!
Another feel-good production.